では、前に出ます。
Hey guys, how's it going? Uh, Yeah. I just got the stream posted, chat. Do me a favor, go give it some love. I didn't do my usual post. I just did a kind of quick one for the stream itself. And if you do that favor and give that a like and a retweet, that would really help me out. Um, Sorry I'm running a little bit late today. Some stuff came up. A little delayed. Looks like I did not log into the bot. Sorry about that. Okay, I think the bot's live. Um, Mix it up today, chat. I think today will be just me. No artwork. No Aurelia. So, how was everybody's weekend? How are you guys doing today? Hello, Akakaze. Ayotsu, hello, Burning. Almonte. Got laundry on, nice. Actually, still think I need to get laundry out of my dryer. I think it's been sitting there, so it's definitely going to be wrinkled at this point. I had a good weekend. Today was kind of exhaustive at work. Basically had to do some furniture moving, so I'm here. We're going to be going over um the Guda Guda like event review since that's coming up on an A. It's still probably a ways off. Like, double check. Yeah, we still probably have like a good 10 days until it comes out, but it is a thing. Actually get AP spending here. I think I still have to do the download campaign stuff, or do I? Maybe not. Beat 5 servants. Servants with heaven attribute. Servants with human and undead enemies. I know undead I can get done in Fuyuki. Hello, Thomas. Happy Monday. I don't know about happy, but yes. Archer training has heaven. I don't know, but this seems like this will get some stuff done. Oh, come on. Of course. Hello, Robo. Nice, William. Thank you for the lyric, Zach. Appreciate it. And same, Jade. Father, I crave some oats. Indeed. Let's see. Where are we at? No, I did not want to come back in here. It was Ufayuki and beyond. Or Salem undead enemies. I mean, definitely would work. Don't know that I care what this is. Gonna go ahead and send it. That way we get the AP spending. So how's chat been feeling about the gaming news lately? There's been a lot of stuff. I guess we have. Oh, actually, Burning just posted, but it looks like we have a Super Mario Galaxy movie direct. Dispatch is apparently doing a season 2. Todd Howard came out and said that Elder Scrolls 6 is still a ways off, which I'm gonna be real with y'all, from everything I've heard, that doesn't surprise me. Like, Elder Scrolls is probably still gonna have to bake for a long time, because if you know anything about the way Bethesda works, it's that they essentially have like they have multiple studios at this point, but primarily the way that they had worked in the past was going from one project to the next. So, like, they basically didn't start on Starfield until they were quote unquote done with Fallout 76. So, like, similar deal here, I think, until they were done with Starfield, they probably didn't start on Elder Scrolls 6. So I think there was probably a lot of time there where, maybe behind the scenes they were doing some stuff like coming up with concepts and ideas, but not really anything more than just putting pen to paper. Thank you for the comfy check, Wood. Appreciate it. Hello, Ayana. Mondays, am I right? Yeah. Mondays. Monday, Monday, Monday. It's also been actually quite cool here today. Finally, winter seems to have arrived. Which supposedly we're getting like record lows tonight, which is kind of wild. But I think it's going all the way down to like the 40s, which is abnormal for already this early in the year. Indeed, Coyotes. So again, I hope everybody had a great Monday, regardless of the fact that it was in fact Monday. Is there a legit source for season 2 of Dispatch? No. They have just specifically stated that they are thinking about doing a season 2. So it's not confirmed yet. I would say, given the success of the game and the fact that the developer has come out and stated that they're thinking about it, that is as good as kind of saying, hey, we're doing season 2. Um, but admittedly, maybe there's a little bit more there and they don't pull the trigger or something, because I think a game like Dispatch takes probably a bit of time. Though I do think there's probably a lot of time in trying to get the feel of the game right, and that initial perception slash inception of the game. Um, and so now that they have that, I think they're probably like doing a season 2 would not take as long, since they've already set up the core concepts at play. But I'm sure there's still quite a bit of artwork, quite a bit of recording, quite a bit of actual programming that has to be done to make it all work correctly. Jack spooked with a rainbow. Nice. Who do you think wins Game of the Year? Which games would you like to see in Game of the Year? Give me 1 minute, and I'll read everybody else's comments, and we'll circle back to that. I know they pushed Fate Extra Record off till next year sometime. Has there been any more news on it, though? No, not as far as I know. State of Play tomorrow, too. The state of play that they have is Japan. So I don't think you're going to see, like, necessarily new news, and if you do, it might be region locked news, which is not ideal. But we'll see. Maybe they'll actually announce something. I have seen people trying to meme that Bloodborne 2 is going to be a thing, but there is absolutely no justification for that. That is people just making that shit up. Which, especially considering we already know that From Software has another game in the pipeline, I don't think that's a actual like thing that will happen. Only slacking, yeah. They can't just make another without planning. Right. I'm just gonna say, like, at least now they don't have to do all the world building side before getting mellow. Yeah. It does have English subs apparently. That's a little bit more interesting, but I do think a lot of like Japanese stuff like is kind of getting simul dubbed now. And I don't know if that's because there's a lot of English speakers overseas in Japan, or if that's because they just are like, hey, we want people overseas to be able to still also follow along. So, is what it is. So, game of the year and what would I like to see win game of the year? That's an interesting question. I've seen a lot of people like making lists and stuff already. I actually don't know. Is there a game of the year like nominee list already out for 2025? So taking a look at it, create a game of the year tier list. Okay, we can look at that. Thank you, Bob. Are these all the new games that have come out this year? Cause like likely unlikely stop. I don't know what? No. I'm gonna go ahead and say like see if I can edit this. Can I not? Ah, can I just type in here? Yeah. And I think this is just gonna be like don't know. Okay. So this sort of thing is interesting because there's gonna be several of these that like I have no idea. So this looks to me like it's Donkey Kong. I, honest to God, again, a lot of these I have not played. So let's be real. Okay. Going off of public perception is going to be how I'm going to gauge some of this. I have seen people say good things about Donkey Kong Bonanza. I have also seen people make the claim that Donkey Kong Bonanza is absolutely not worth $80. I think that's a valid claim. However, I wonder should things like price really factor into something like this. I think if you're a gamer, it factors into your idea of like whether or not it's a good deal and maybe how soon you would want to pull the trigger on a game like that. But I don't think it necessarily bears any weight on Game of the Year. So I'm gonna say for something like this, it's probably absolutely gonna be in the running. Kirby Air Riders. I'll be real with y'all for a second here. I've seen people that are excited about this game, but it is not even released yet. So Kirby Air Riders by default has to go into don't know. I just I can't tell you, right? Like I have not played it. It is not released. It absolutely should not be there at this point in time. Because until it releases, I just don't know. I'm also be honest with you guys. I think for game of the year considerations, something that is released on the 20th will never win game of the year. This is November 20th. That is unfair to it. I actually think this is one of the biggest problems with game of the year voting is that they don't wait for the year to be over before they do anything. Like if they wanted to host this stuff on like I don't know, like January or something like that. Yeah, you might not have the most time with a game that releases in December, but historically most games don't release in December due to the holiday window. So as a result, I think that's still probably the fairest option, as opposed to, yeah, we're going to run the Game Awards in December, and then games that, come out late November, nobody really gets a chance to play, and they're just kind of shafted. So I don't think that's really fair to them, but it is what it is. Blueprints, honest to God, I have not heard much of anything about this. I'm going to say this is an unlikely. I can't say that it shouldn't be considered, but the tidbits that I've heard are like, oh, it's kind of niche, it's kind of good, but like I don't think it's gonna be something higher. Elden Ring Night Rain is interesting. I think if I look at this from community perception, I have seen a lot of mixed things on Night Rain. I have simultaneously seen a group of like the FromSoft crowd just absolutely circle jerking it, saying it's like the best thing ever, and saying that like everybody should play it and that it is game of the year. On the other hand, I've also seen a bunch of people that kind of just feel like it's a good product, but it is ultimately kind of shallow and more or less a proof of concept. And I kind of have a tendency to agree with the latter there. I actually don't think it's in the running. I think like it might get nominated, but I think it's highly unlikely to actually win. Okay. Um the issue I think I majorly have with Night Rain is that it kind of is a smaller offering that piggybacks on the work that they already did for Elden Ring. That is fine in and of itself. I'm not going to knock it as a game for that purpose, but for game of the year consideration, no, I don't really think it's up there at this point. Indiana Jones. Honestly, I played Indiana Jones because I got it for free with my new graphics card for the new computer that I built this year. Um, I actually thought Indiana Jones was a pretty good game for what it was. If you're somebody that likes the Indiana Jones experience, it's amazing. But I can't say that something like Indiana Jones should, realistically speaking, be considered for Game of the Year. I think it is yet another like action adventure game that we've seen a la Tomb Raider, other Indiana Jones games, and even like things like Uncharted. Honestly, to me, it doesn't really do anything that's like unique or outstanding. It's just good quality fun. But then I also look at the price tag on that. Well, I'm not going to evaluate it. I'm going to say for its price, it's kind of overpriced. So to me, it's unlikely. Again, I'm not going to knock it for the price side of things. I don't really see Indiana Jones being a big thing here. Um, I probably have an unpopular opinion compared to the rest of the internet on Monster Hunter. I got into playing Monster Hunter with Worlds. I was not a huge fan of it at first. In fact, the first time I tried to play it, I actually quit because the people I was playing with made it miserable for me. But then, a year or two later, I went back to it. I had fun with it and really enjoyed it. And then I ended up from Worlds going on to play Rise, and then from Rise now I have played Wilds. I have enjoyed my time with Monster Hunter thoroughly. I do think there's some issues with the optimization of Monster Hunter. I think Capcom absolutely needs to do a better job with their PC releases. But let's be real for a second here. One of the like ongoing memes this year has been that anything running on Unreal 5 is just crap and terribly optimized, and the reason why is because either Unreal is not providing support to developers in that vein, or developers are themselves not able to figure out how to make it happen. Either because it's archaic to them or because they simply don't have the time. I'm not sure who the actual issue lies with, simply to say that, yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty bad rap for a lot of games this year in terms of their optimization, even going into the prior year. So I think while that is a absolutely fair criticism of Wilds, I'm really not going to judge it too harshly based off that. And frankly speaking, I myself have not had very many issues with it, though I do have a newer computer. Wilds is ambitious. It absolutely expands on the formula, but I think a lot of people were expecting Wilds to be bigger at launch. So there were a lot of people that were upset about that. I personally would have liked to have seen it be bigger, at least with more of a like monster roster than it had. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think the gameplay loop is fun. I think they've kind of mastered their formula for how to make combat feel fluid and responsive and not clanky and janky. So, in that regard, I have to give them a lot of props for kind of smoothing over a lot of their problems. There's still a little bit of problems with their UI and it just being cumbersome. Things that, I would like to see change with a future release and stuff like that, or maybe even with an expansion to Wilds. But ultimately, Wilds is the best game in the series so far that I have played. I really do enjoy it. I think a lot of the criticisms I have of the game are more or less on how they run the live service aspect of it at this point, rather than, say, any actual issue I have with the gameplay itself. So I think, while I understand that there are valid criticisms on Monster Hunter is actually a fantastic game, and it gets overly hated right now. There were a lot of people that were saying the game was too easy, and those same people weren't doing hard hunts. Similarly, since that criticism, they have definitely pumped a lot more difficult monsters into the game. So it's almost like a lot of people were judging the game based off of its predecessors, particularly its completed predecessors that had had all of their content injected into them after like 2 years. So to me, Monster Hunter absolutely is in the running and definitely worthy of consideration. I think that sort of thing is, again, the internet kind of just going way over the top on things and saying, hey, this game sucks. Monster Hunter deserves to be punished. I don't agree with that at all. I think Monster Hunter Wilds is a fantastic game. It's the best game to date in the Monster Hunter series, but it is what it is. Expedition 33. I think a lot of people would tell you that this is the front runner. And I do think that there are varied opinions on this sort of thing. I think it actually does matter that there are different perspectives. In fact, there was a interesting thing that happened recently where I think Shroud came out and said that Arc Raiders should win Game of the Year. And basically, the comparison between, a single player RPG and a multiplayer game. I do think something like that is worthy of recognition, and that Shroud does make a good point. However, that being said, Shroud was talking about that entirely because he got blasted for saying that you can't let Expedition 33 win Game of the Year. So that was stupid of Shroud. That was him kind of trying to go back on that, which I totally get. But is Expedition 33 worthy of Game of the Year? I think that Expedition 33 has a lot of what I look for in a Game of the Year. It knocked it out of the park in terms of its presentation and its sort of extra stuff like music and art style and things like that. It's a very pretty game. It has a very beautiful soundtrack and has a very interesting setting. But usually when I look at game of the year, I want to see something where a game of the year goes above and beyond. I'm going to give it to Expedition 33. While, unlike most other people, I have been around the block long enough with RPGs to know that no, Expedition 33 did not invent turn based active combat mechanics. They definitely polished it and put it in to such a degree. And it was something that had kind of been waning in the industry for a long time. So seeing it come back, seeing it developed and put into a game with a very interesting style to it and very, how should I say it, like integrated way, I think is great. And I think they did a fantastic job and knocked it out of the park. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and put this in absolutely in the running, and we'll see. We're going to make a choice on what game of the year is from the options that are in this. Oblivion Remake. Let's be honest, chat. Oblivion Remake is great. But also at the same time, it is plagued by the issues that plague Unreal 5. And also at the same time, it is a remake. And I'm sorry, but when things come to remakes, I'm going to stick to my guns. And I'm going to say that unless you have fundamentally changed the game in a remake, that you should not be considered for Game of the Year. You should quite literally be disqualified. If you want to see recognition for something like Oblivion, there is nothing wrong with that. However, Oblivion absolutely should get its own category then. There should be categories for remakes, there should be categories for DLC, that sort of thing. So like best remake or remaster, give it its own category. I think that'd be amazing. And that definitely would be worthy of recognition, just not Game of the Year. Same thing with how we debated last year, should Shadow of the Erd Tree be nominated for Game of the Year? My stance on that was also no. It is a DLC. It is an expansion, if you want to look at it as that. It's absolutely worthy of recognition. But no, it should not be considered for Game of the Year. So again, let it win awards, just not the ultimate award. Doom: The Dark Ages. I mean, it might get nominated, but I'm going to be real, from everybody that I've heard that played Doom: The Dark Ages, while people liked the aesthetic and feel of the game, I heard a lot of people say that this game just missed its mark and that it was prohibitively short and did not actually have the depth that some of the other Doom games have. Sorry, Doom, not Dune. Doom games have, and didn't actually provide kind of that feel that people wanted from the original Doom 2016 sort of reboot. So in that regard, I think it's unlikely. I don't think it's like not worthy of being considered, but it is what it is. Just a second, chat. Okay. Um, it was a very safe Doom game. Yeah, and I don't blame them for playing it safe per se, but I think it's like it's not a bad game, but it's not what people wanted it to be. So I think it kind of undersells. Split Fiction. I'll be real with you guys here. I think everything I've heard on Split Fiction is that it's an excellent game. It is a unique kind of twist on the co-op formula that they had mastered with It Takes Two. And so I think this game is absolutely something that is in the running for Game of the Year. Whether or not it should win probably depends entirely on your perspective, but it is what it is. Hades 2. I have definitely seen people that have gone back to Hades 2 now that it has full released and they have kind of finished polishing. I do think this is a game that is worthy of recognition. However, I gotta be honest, releasing it the way they did for the original makes sense. But given that it was a highly anticipated sequel, I think releasing it like not even finished is another thing entirely. If they wanted to do a sort of beta for testing or they wanted to just get player feedback, I totally get that. I do not understand like releasing it entirely unfinished, and that I kind of have to give them a little bit of shit for. Again, if this was Hades 1, I don't give them any shit for that, but they already kind of made bank on Hades 1 and came back for Hades 2. That being said, I have to give them credit for still not charging an arm and a leg for this game. I think Hades 2 is fantastic, like bang for your buck value, especially if you're somebody that likes that top-down isometric like combat and that action style that it has. So I think the fact that it is also a rogue light instead of a rogue like is really nice because it does allow for some progression and maybe a more casual sense. Though I do think the game, at least from my experience, ramps up very quickly in terms of its difficulty. So some people could probably handle it, but it is an interesting game to me. I'm going to be honest with you guys here. While I do think Hades 2 deserves some recognition, I don't think it's very likely to win Game of the Year. I don't think it's in the running really at all. I think because of the spread out nature of its release, it is kind of just faded from public consciousness, and it is what it is. Silksong. I have not played Silksong. I'm one of the rare ones that hasn't. And so as a result, it should not be... No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, Silksong is beloved by a lot of people. I've had multiple friends that have played this game. I've gotten to watch people play this game. It is clearly a fantastic game. I have heard a lot of positivity surrounding this. Similar deal to how we were just talking about with Hades on the price. A lot of people really, really, really liked the fact that this song, or sorry, not this song, this game, even though it took so long to come out, was very fairly priced. I think I have to give them a whole lot of credit for delivering on something that people have been waiting on for a long time. They didn't build up hype. It was more the community wanting it that kept building up the hype. So the developer actually did the right thing here. They just played their cards close to vest. They did not overhype things. They didn't come out and make promises that they couldn't keep. They just delivered. And in that regard, I think Silksong absolutely is in the running this year. Borderlands 4. I'm going to be honest. From everybody that I've heard of, Borderlands 4 is better than I expected. I really expected Borderlands 4 to just be god-awful and be a bust, kind of similar to how Borderlands 3 was. But it does at least look like the developers have listened to their community and, hey, maybe let's do what the community wants. So I think Borderlands 4 deserves a lot of credit for that. That being said, unfortunately, I have to talk about price again here because there was a lot of drama prior to release about the pricing of this game, especially because Randy Pitchford cannot keep his mouth shut and had way too outspoken moments talking about the video games industry and where things should be. Randy Pitchford is actually a liability to his company at this point. And he should step down from any sort of authoritative role. Because if he does not, he is going to keep sandbagging all of his products. I know plenty of people that didn't get Borderlands 4 and didn't pay attention to Borderlands 4 purely because of Randy Pitchford. So that is not a good thing in that regard. But yes, I have heard that this game is a lot better. I do think that it is a quality game. However, while it may be some people's game of the year, I don't think it will actually be in the running. That will be interesting to see. It might get a nomination here and there in various awards, but I don't think it's going to win any of the awards. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So this was a anticipated sequel to the original Kingdom Come. I think this one was interesting from the stance that there was a little bit of drama surrounding this game and the developer kind of shifting their stance from the first game. I think this game is still very much a quality product. I have played it. I have not played it to the extent that I would like to. I definitely want to go back and play it some more because Kingdom Come Deliverance is a very interesting setting. It's a very open-ended style of game, and I think that's very rare in the industry nowadays. Not that we don't have open world, but it's kind of rare to have a much more like subtle storytelling side to things, and the player having to actually go out and talk to people to find quests and find activities to do. On one hand, that could maybe be used as a knock against the game, but on the other hand, it is an interesting thing that honestly the gaming industry has kind of lacked with all the hand holding that goes on nowadays. So I have to give them a whole lot of credit for that. I really don't see Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 winning Game of the Year, but I absolutely could see it in the running, and I think it will be considered in a lot of ways. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think for some people, they may switch Borderlands 4 with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, depending on their opinion. It just is what it is. Metal Gear Solid Remake. So this is another interesting one. I think they did a stellar job with remaking the game and putting it in, again, a more modern era here in terms of graphics. But it ultimately is the same game that it originally was. And it is, to me, not really a remake, but more just a remaster. And in that regard, no, it absolutely should not be considered for Game of the Year, despite the fact that it is a very quality product. But it is just them kind of cashing in on past glory. Deltarune Chapters 2 and 3. I'll be real with y'all. I ain't heard shit about this. I mean, maybe we could sit there and say that it shouldn't be considered. I'm just going to put it in unlikely, because it is what it is. To some people, that might be their Game of the Year. To me, I just don't really hear anybody talk about it, so I don't think it really has any shot at it. Ghost of Yotai. Ghost of Yotai is probably going to get nominated, because who ultimately controls the nominations are like Jeff Keighley and his cronies and several of the industry's like media personalities. So Ghost of Yotai is one of those ones where a lot of people think that it will get nominations. I have heard very mixed opinions on this. I have played a bit of Ghost of Yotai on my own. It definitely was a game that I was looking forward to. Unfortunately, just like with several of the other games on this list, there was a lot of controversy and drama leading up to the release, including games that just stuck a foot in their own mouth when the developers basically just became outspoken on issues that they frankly had no place talking about. I think to some degree, people would expect that you can absolutely make comments on your own private capacity and that it shouldn't blow back on you. I think it's a very fair take. Unfortunately, the industry has not worked that way for the past 20 years now. So yeah, they're going to get in trouble for the stupid things that they say out in the open, and they should know better. So at the end of the day, I have to look at something like Ghost and say, well, I can't judge it based off of that. It certainly didn't help public perception of the game. And I do think there's a lot of people that went into Ghost very judgmentally. I myself had not planned to purchase Ghost, but I did manage to get a key from the developer. So for that, I thanked them, and I still played through it on several streams with you guys. Ultimately, there's some things I really like about it, which is particularly the changes to the combat system overall. But I do think there's some nasty ones, like enemies automatically instantaneously encircling you, and the fact that you get rather animation locked into a combat with somebody so that you can't even actually dodge when you need to in some cases, because the camera and the game will just hard fixate you in. I think that's clunky as all hell. And while I was playing it on a higher difficulty, I just wonder what the heck the devs did, because it actually feels like a negative change from the first game that everybody lauded for its combat capability. So I like the changes they made to the main character's combat capabilities. I absolutely hated the changes they made to the AI and what they were trying to do to make the game artificially harder, because it was stupid and bad. Now, that being said, I have to admit, the story is absolutely a 5 out of 10 compared to the story from the first game. I have to give them a lot of crap for that. I do understand it develops a little bit more from where I went on, but I've already heard some things about it, and no, I don't think it was nearly as engaging or intriguing. I think the main character is just wholly worse, and I don't think it was a good choice for the main character at all. So at the end of the day, I have to look at this and I have to say that it is unlikely to actually win Game of the Year. If Ghost of Yotai wins Game of the Year, that would be such a travesty to Ghost of Tsushima, which is the far better game and its predecessor. Mario Kart World. This is another similar one where, like, just like Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think a lot of stuff was said over the pricing of this game and the fact that it was bundled with Switch 2. It was kind of at the center of the controversy of Switch 2 just being way overpriced and a greedy, like, sort of power grab by Nintendo. That being said, it is the first open world Mario Kart. I think it's an interesting idea. So, kind of like we talked about, one of my candidates for Game of the Year is that they do something transformative, something that is unique and new. I do think Mario Kart World has that sort of thing. However, I'm also going to say I just don't think Mario Kart World is going to actually be considered for Game of the Year because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is still just a spin on the formula they've been milking for years and years and years at this point. I think Donkey Kong has the far better chance. So to me, Mario Kart World just goes in unlikely. Death Stranding 2. So when Death Stranding 2 was getting marketed, they definitely were trying to push it a lot more as an expansion of the story, an expansion of mechanics. The game was not just going to be a walking simulator like the first game was. That being said, I have to actually give it to public perception on this one. Since Death Stranding 2 came out, while I did see some people glazing it, I did not see anybody actually posting gameplay of it. I did not see anybody outside of the perpetual glazers saying things. So there was no like earnest feedback on the game, which tells me either that a lot of people just flat out avoided it because of the way the first game was, or people just didn't like it. And I think it's probably some mix of both of those. So at the end of the day, Death Stranding 2, while it is Kojima's baby, I don't think it's going to get Game of the Year. And honestly, I don't even really think it should be nominated. Mafia: The Old Country. This was an interesting one because I think, like, when it was also getting marketed, a lot of people were kind of getting like, whoa, hey, hold on, I like the Mafia games. Maybe this could be really good. And for a bit there was some genuine hype, like, just prior to release for this game, as people were looking forward to it. Unfortunately, when the game released, it seems like it was extremely short and didn't have a whole lot of, like, depth to it. So people were maybe hoping that it was going to be a return to glory for the Mafia franchise, and it seems to have been anything but. So it is what it is. So at the end of the day, I think Mafia: The Old Country, very unlikely. Ninja Gaiden 4. This is actually interesting on this one because I have not played this one yet myself. It is still relatively fresh and new. I think it's only been out for a couple of weeks here. But generally, I have heard people have good things to say about it, other than the particular, like, complaints about the difficulty of the game. That I feel like is par for the course. It's the same thing like if we have a Souls-like come out, you're going to see people complaining about the difficulty of a difficult game. But that shouldn't be held against it. From basically anybody that I've seen that actually has played Ninja Gaiden 4, the consensus that I understand is that it is a little bit of a return to glory for the franchise and a welcome addition. So in that regard, I think it's definitely good. However, I'm also going to say I don't really see it winning Game of the Year, unfortunately, but that's just because it's not going to be something that the media could even play through, let alone vote on, should that be the case. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what this one is, chat. Shinobi? Let me take a look at it. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I'll be real with you guys here for a second. Looking at the style of game, maybe it's actually amazing. Okay. But I haven't done this to any game yet that's not a remake, but I'm going to say this should not be considered for game of the year. It is what it is. I'm sure it's fun, but no, I don't even think this is unlikely. I don't even think this is in the same stratosphere, basically. And then this is also Ninja Gaiden. I'm going to say it's the exact same thing. This basically just does not belong in the same tier as the rest of these games. It does not mean that it's a bad game or a bad offering. I just don't think either of these two should be. This is the Trails in the Sky remake. Same deal. I really don't feel like this should be considered. Outer Worlds 2. This is an interesting one. I feel like this is kind of similar to the Borderlands situation, where Outer Worlds 2 was a game that a lot of people, I think, wanted to hate. And now that it has come out, it is not as bad as people thought it was going to be. In fact, it's actually a fairly quality game. That being said, I think it is a quality game for what its offering is, but it is still not worth the price it is set to. And that, I think, is the biggest complaint that I have for this. It's a very similar situation where the developer kind of screwed up with their initial pricing, then they lowered the price, similar to Borderlands. But even with the lowered price, it should not be priced at what it's sat at. And I think that is the problem that a lot of people have with it. So people don't feel like it's actually worth, because it is still on the lesser side of things. And frankly, I think, like, having played a little bit of it myself, while I do think it's interesting, while I do think there is potential for this game, I think it's pretty clear at this point that Obsidian just has lost the magic that originally made them great. The studio that was known for being able to take pre-existing IPs and really make a quality addition to their franchises is now a studio that basically wants to make its own stuff but can't seem to do a good job of that. So at the end of the day, I kind of just have to say that Outer Worlds 2 is extremely unlikely to actually win Game of the Year. Pokemon Legends ZA. This is an interesting one for me. I have had a lot of complaints about this game, and we're going to talk about pricing here again, but not in the sense that we're talking about the price that you guys pay. We're going to talk about the price that the developers paid on this one. That is to say, the development costs for Pokemon ZA were fucking atrocious. They were absolutely abysmal. Nintendo did not invest any money in this game. So if you're wondering why the game looks kind of subpar at certain things, why, even though they went with like the whole like Parisian city aesthetic, that the game still looks relatively like phoned in, that's why. They just didn't have any like actual like developmental war chest to be able to spend on the production of this game. And I think that kind of has caused those issues. I do think this game does some new and interesting stuff for the Pokemon franchise, and that should be lauded. But I also think that because of the nature of it, it's just unlikely to win Game of the Year. I think it could be something that it could be a little bit of a media darling, but I do think the players overall are very mixed on their opinions of this game. I have seen people say it's amazing. I have seen people say it's terrible. I have seen people say it's mid. This tells me that it's largely up to player bias and that the truth lies somewhere in between. So it is not an amazing game. It is not a terrible game. It is one of the games of all time. And that is what it is. Indicopia. I have literally never heard of this. I'm gonna look at it again here. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, just from the art style alone, I don't think this should ever be considered for Game of the Year. Mina the Hollower. Same deal. I don't know that I've heard of this. Okay. This is top down, like 2D side scroller. Doesn't look awful, but I'm also gonna, in a similar way, say that like probably not worthy of Game of the Year consideration. Don't get me wrong. You know, we've seen games like even like Hades before, which I actually feel like the original Hades should have potentially won Game of the Year. So I'm not going to look down on it just because of that. I'm saying it shouldn't be considered one because I just legitimately haven't heard of it. So because I haven't even heard of it, it tells me that it's not that popular, which means that it's probably not something that is like a little bit of a dark horse candidate like Hades 1 originally was. Similarly, because I look at the style of it and I say, hey, this doesn't look like this is like AAA quality or even like an independent that's punching above their weight, I have to just say it is what it is. It doesn't make it a bad game, but it shouldn't be considered for Game of the Year. Silent Hill. Silent Hill's an interesting one. I have not been somebody that's been like very aware of Silent Hill. I've known it has been a franchise for a long time, but I've not really like played it myself or even seen that much footage of prior games. So it becomes difficult for me to judge Silent Hill F based off of the prior ones. That being said, my coworker at work came up to ask me, he's like, hey, should I get Silent Hill F? Do you think I would like it? And I have seen other people play it, and I have heard other people talk about it. And it does sound like it is a very good game. And from what I have seen, it does look like it is a very good game. So at the end of the day, I'm going to say Silent Hill is a good game. And that is why I actually recommended it to my coworker. So while it may not be exactly what people are looking for in a Silent Hill game, I actually do think that Silent Hill F is in the running for Game of the Year. It is one of the bigger games that has come out this year that is more talked about by a lot of people. I do think there are a couple in here, like Ghost of Yotai, Borderlands 4, Hades 2, and Elden Ring Night Ring, that you can make a strong argument that they should be up here in the running. That being said, I don't know about that. Now, there is another one that, as chat has pointed out, and chat, let me know if there's any others that you think should be considered here, but Digimon absolutely should be in the running here. It is a game that before it came out, I would have told you absolutely had no shot, but it's pretty clear that Digimon, you know, actually put some thought and some effort into that game, more so than we could say for something like Pokemon. So I have to give them that leg up on that. I think it is the far superior game to the Pokemon competitor there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it may not be your cup of tea. I think that's the sort of problem that you're going to have with some of these is even though they are fantastic games, they just may be too niche for you to enjoy. Yeah, I will go ahead and say this. With regards to Game of the Year and what I think should win versus what will win, I think is an interesting thing. Dispatch? Yeah, okay, so if we said Digimon, if we said this is Digimon Time Strangers, I'm gonna say DT there, then Dispatch, which I'm gonna say is DP, absolutely should be here too. Now, I do think Dispatch, you could get very close to the like unlikely or even should not be considered category because it is a telltale style of game. I have
thoroughly enjoyed my time spent with Dispatch. I do not regret it even an iota. Now, I did get the key for free, just to be clear, but I also purchased Dispatch for my girlfriend because since I got the key for free, I didn't have to pay for it myself. And I would have paid for it myself. And it has been absolutely worth every penny that I spent, even though it wasn't for myself. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I think Dispatch is a quality product. It's already been very successful, and people are already talking about doing a season 2 for it. So it should be in the running. So with that in mind, I can definitely see of this list that there is at least a couple of difficult choices here. I think if we went in terms of playtime, for me, it would have actually been Monster Hunter Wilds. I have spent the longest amount of time playing Wilds this year, more than pretty much any other game that I've gotten so far. I think there's definitely some considerations like split fiction that this is difficult to quantify, and depending on whether or not you're a solo versus multiplayer gamer, you may prefer other things. Same thing with Expedition 33. If you're a solo gamer, that game is probably really, really strong for you. I think ultimately, because we have such a diverse lineup here, because we have a bunch of different genres, that it is easy to see a lot of people making different claims. I think early in the year, it appeared like Expedition 33 was the front runner. And I will not be surprised to see 33 win Game of the Year. I do think it has that media darling. It has that unique change and blend of like old mechanics that just really make people like it. I think aesthetically, in terms of its presentation, it is the game that a lot of people are still going to remember into the future. That being said, I think it's Silksong. Silksong is the one that I think is actually going to win Game of the Year because Silksong has not stopped being out of the community zeitgeist for even 2 seconds. Even to this day, I still see Silksong posts nearly every single day. So because of that, I think it kind of passes the test of what is the most talked about, most popular game. And as a result, I think it has to be Silksong. But we'll see. We'll see whether or not it wins. I do think every single one of the games on this list, depending on how you look at things, is worthy of that consideration. I think for me, if it weren't Silksong, it would be Expedition 33. But hey, it is what it is. You know what you guys are going to pick for your Game of the Year. I think Expedition 33 will win this year. Yeah, I could definitely see it. Clearly, Uma Musume. Uma Musume is disqualified because the game came out in prior years. And let's be real. Uma Musume, I'll be honest with you guys. I think it's a great gacha game, but I also think it is a fad. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But Uma Musume is a very interesting style of game. I do think that it is something that the gacha like community sorely needed. But I also see it falling off after a time period. Even already, I kind of see it falling off because I don't really hear it getting talked about too much. I don't see it posted every 2 seconds now. But I think Uma Musume was kind of the straw that like broke the camel's back to an extent. It came out at a pivotal point where like everybody just wanted something new to play, and it provided. And so it's always going to be beloved by a lot of people for that reason. But again, I don't think it's got the staying power necessarily. I even saw something the other day where people were comparing Uma Musume and FGO, and how many times on the JP side of things that FGO has hit number one in sales. And the consensus was, and this was, being talked about by Japanese people, that FGO just had insane staying power in spite of everything, whereas Uma Musume had kind of had its couple of years of like being a really big player, but is now beginning to fall off. So I wonder if the same cycle is going to occur on the like global side of things, and if Uma Musume eventually just kind of fades from relevancy or consciousness. Then forgotten after insert new thing here. Yeah, I do think that's a major problem in the gacha industry at this point. And it's kind of like why I don't really care too much about other gacha games. I like Fate because it's based off of an IP that I love. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it just is not something that I kind of want to get in the rat race of. Seeing you play Dispatch CAD convinced me at least to pick up a copy, so I imagine they're coming out ahead on that key they gave you. Oh, absolutely. I don't think you're the only one either, Sarth. I think I've had a couple of people already in chat mention that, like, hey, this looks like a really good game and it seems really fun, so they've managed to pick it up. Which again, that's the entire point of streamers. You give us a key, we get to play it in front of our communities, and then, if the community loves it, they love it. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's an interesting idea. Thank you guys for asking me about that, because I had not given, like, I'm not gonna say I hadn't given much thought to what should be game of the year, but I had not really talked about a lot of the options at this point. And honestly, I'll be real with you guys, whoever made that tier list, several of those options just should not have been there. I legitimately don't know what the devs were doing. CAD stream got me to buy it too. Good. Like I said, I think it's worthy. I think whenever a developer, like in the case of Dispatch, does something like that, where they put a lot of heart and soul into a game, and the product is quality, I think it is worthy of recognition. I like not necessarily game of the year recognition, but it's worthy of like being showcased and shown to people, and kind of said like, hey, maybe you too should consider this. For instance, like I played Tainted Grail earlier this year, and while I didn't get to complete it, I still had a lot of fun with Tainted Grail. I thought it was a really interesting spin on things and a really like fun game. So in a similar way, it's like I don't have any problem playing those types of games with you guys, because to me they're fun to play, and I like to share them with you. So in the hope that eventually you guys enjoy it too, I think that's kind of why I like doing it. I want all the episodes to come out before I play it. I did buy it though. Yeah. I mean, it should be out here Wednesday. Which, okay, so chat, while we're going through FGO here, let's quickly talk. Schedule for me this week is a little bit weird. Wednesday is still my normal date night. However, I have a second date on Friday, and that's because I'm going to be kind of going out with some of the girlfriend's friends. So we are doing a group date on Friday. So I have 2 days that I'll be gone from you guys for this week. I'm sorry for that. I will also be having my normal weekend date on Sunday. So basically, Saturday, I may or may not be available to stream. I'm right now, I think I'm going to be available, but that does depend on a certain development behind the scenes. Girls Night Out plus CAD? No, it's me and my girlfriend, her best friend, and like her husband, and then another friend and her boyfriend. So 3 guys, 3 girls. They caught a gator together? I don't know about that. How dare you have a social life, Cad Madge? I know. I like, and again, thank you guys for understanding. I really do mean it. I'm so happy that you guys have allowed me to do this and you're still supporting. I'm sure to some people it's like a bummer that I'm not able to stream as much, or they're maybe thinking that I'm like forsaking them or like giving up on things. I understand. I do think, as I've talked about before, there are some changes that need to happen, which let's actually kind of go on and address some of those because I do need to. Did you say Heaven was in the training grounds? Go check. Well, it's Lancer training grounds. Cat happy equal happy stream. Yes. One of them's got to be it. Oh, why did I go out? There we go. Oh, there'll be less rage moments. What do you mean there'll be less rage moments? Of course, there's still gonna be rage moments. What? It's video games, chat. I can't not rage at them. I get unreasonably upset by video games. Always have. But I did want to talk about this. So there is an ongoing active conversation behind the scenes between me and my girlfriend. Chat, I don't want you guys to hold this against her. Okay? Because she is the catalyst. She is not the like source. So the source is that I have been wanting to make changes to stream for a bit now. I've already told you guys I'm getting a little bit older. My nieces and nephews are getting a little bit older. I need to present myself in a better, more mature manner as a streamer. Okay? She is the catalyst that is making me want to do that. I have already kind of been wanting to, but I had not pulled the trigger on it for fear of how you guys would feel. But yes, it's a little bit more PG content in the sense of I need to talk with her a little bit more about what she's comfortable with and whether or not, like, I think there is a line on things. But yeah, I think big booba art and lewd backgrounds are probably going to be a thing of the past, and that sucks. I know it was something that like some of you guys look forward to every night. I know some of you guys kind of viewed it as like a feature of the channel. It sucks, but you got to do what's best for you. Yeah. And so it's like, it's just one of those things where I think presentation wise, when I start thinking about like, am I putting out a product that I can be proud of? And I think at the end of the day, the answer is no, chat. The thought of like somebody that I know, like a family member or a friend, finding stream, seeing what I do worries me. Okay. And it shouldn't. If I'm doing things that I should be doing, it shouldn't worry me. But I'm not. So I think that's where it is. So don't blame her. She is just what is kind of waking me up and getting me to do what I need to do. Okay. But at the end of the day, that's where I'm at right now. So we're gonna reevaluate it. I don't know that Aurelia will be like permanently gone, but I think I've definitely removed some of the spicier artworks already, and it's gonna be something where I need to think long and hard about like what I actually want to showcase. Okay. The law of equal exchange, right? Just pray they don't see the old YouTube vids then. I mean, I'll have to think about how to handle that. That's all I can really say. I don't know. I don't want to like delete content on you guys or anything. I don't want to like delete the old artworks. But I'm gonna have to think about like how to handle some of that stuff. Yeah, I think a lot of politicians' names are automatically banned on the channel because, and no offense to you guys, I know like it's a joke, but it's one of those things where like it gets people riled up, and then once they've started, they can't not. So it's just a hey, no politics type of rule. You can always blame it on the frisky editor, yeah. But I don't know how my content's going to change going forward. I can only say at the end of the day that there will be changes. And again, chat, that's why, like, if you guys notice, my profile picture on Discord's different. I kind of started there. So. We have Zephyr to blame? No, Zephyr's not to blame for this. Zephyr does blow. Oh my god. But yeah, I want to, again, I think I want to like reshape the branding to be a lot more involving me, to be a lot more centered around me. I don't want that to sound like narcissistic to you guys. It's really not. It's more of a my brand should be me. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I want it to be, like I said, something I can be proud of. But also at the same time, it's like I want there to be the emphasis on me rather than, oh, this is the game that I like to watch people playing. So instead, it's like, hey, you want to see me play a game rather than you want to see the game that I just so happen to be playing. I think that is the much more consistent way to bring people to stream. I think that's the more interesting way to handle things overall. Ted, you aren't a narcissistic person for wanting what you want. I know I'm not a narcissistic person. Because I definitely know that the whole world does not revolve around me. I think that's something that a lot of narcissistic people just have a hard time being able to say or come to grips with. Versus me, I've always been pretty empathetic. Definitely times where I feel like I could be more, and times where like I maybe turn off my empathy at points. But I think by and large that I'm generally a lot more like communal in the sense of like thinking about other people and how they feel on things. I have to admit, I'll miss the spicy art, but ultimately, if you feel like it doesn't properly represent your values, then it's best to put things in order. I think it's definitely not something that I want to be, if that makes sense. We need yearly VIP cleanup. What do you mean VIP cleanup? What happens in VIP stays in VIP. Starting with me, get that guy out of here? No. You're banned from being banned. Okay, so that at least handled all of that stuff. I think Twitch is throttling you. For me? Not as far as I can see. You guys have to tell me if there's issues. Can't believe Ash would do this to us, SMH. Yeah. But no, I mean, again, I think it's just. I have to think long and hard about what I want my brand to be going forward. I need to like sit down and talk with people. I need to kind of strategize. I need to think about things myself. Like some of this is it's like it's stuff that nobody can answer for me. It's just me, right? But the other part of it is like I do value my friends and their opinions, and I do want to like bounce stuff off of them. Back to work, have fun all. Later, no earthly. Which, by the way, chat, I'm pretty much done with the JP event here. I don't know how you guys are faring, but there's not a whole lot of time left, so you need to wear a suit and tie on stream from now on. Oh, so you're saying I instead need to wear this on stream? Is that what you're saying? For the Dark Souls runs? Oh god, dude. I don't know, because like it doesn't fit well on my head, so like I would have to like change it to make sure that it didn't fall down. I'm not gonna say I couldn't, I'm gonna say this would be very nerve-wracking. Uh-oh. Now that I can get it off my head. Hold on. Ah, there we go. Desu Volt. Okay. Praise the sun, yes. Bro can't even see his nose? How could... You can't normally see your nose. If you can, you must have a really big nose. I mean, like, maybe if I, like switch from one eye to the other, I can see it, but, like, normally it's, like, in that, like, immediately close field of vision where you can't.
Look harder.
What do you mean, look harder? Do you think you'll give Digimon Time Strangers a try? Probably not. I've already seen like my friends play it. Not that I think it's like a bad game or anything. I just in general, like even with like Pokemon, right? I've definitely played some Pokemon games, but I also don't buy every Pokemon game because I don't think it's necessarily for me. So I think that's like where I'm at on that sort of thing. The better question is how good can you breathe and see under that? It's the sight that's the problem because you only have like two little slits. I mean, your nose is always visible, but your brain blocks it out. Are you sure about that? What if you actually just have Schrodinger's nose? It's there when you're looking, but it's not when you're not. My god. I got access to the WoW Midnight expansion tomorrow, apparently. Nice. Wait, but it's not out yet, right? Like, isn't it, like, are you just talking about, like, the beta server for it? Beta? Gotcha. Yeah. I remember I played the Burning Crusade beta back in the day. That was a long time ago. I remember flying around Shatrath and thinking, this city looks ugly. Why did they make it this color? I love Shat though. Yeah, it like aesthetically it looked like someone shat it out. I have never played WoW. WoW is an experience, is all I can say. Honestly, there would still be like the urge for me to like go back and play like classic WoW at some point. It is one of those games where like at its core, the mechanics are brutal but fun. As Burning said, there is a Digimon demo that would be worth dipping into. Yeah, but I got a lot of shit to play right now. And when I say a lot of shit to play, it is what it is. Not that I don't have other stuff to play besides Conan. It's just when I get the itch, I get the itch. Conan is eternal, pretty much. I think so. It's interesting because what was it? I saw it earlier today, but let me see if I can find it again for you guys. Yeah, so chat. Like, this is No Man's Sky's new procedurally generated world. And on one hand, you should not buy this game by pre-ordering. Like, definitely wait for reviews. Definitely do not give them the benefit of the doubt. And I know people are gonna be like, but Cad, they've supported No Man's Sky for all of these years for free. Yeah, for free is the tax of if they don't, they're gonna get absolutely roasted by the community. So, well, yes, you have to give them credit for doing that. No, you should not trust them on the release of a new game until they prove otherwise, because they absolutely bungled the release of No Man's Sky. New mic? For me? No. But this is one of those where, again, like, this game does look really interesting. And if it's truly procedural, it's kind of like everything I've wanted out of Conan in the sense that, like, if they get the building right, I'll be sold. I'll be all in on this. And a little bit the prospect of what if they continue to support it like they have with No Man's Sky, that actually makes me, like, really, really excited. So this would be a game that I would love to see get fleshed out. We'll just have to see how it goes. That being said, there's a lot of, like, hollow jank to No Man's Sky where it's like, oh, look, NPCs. And there's not really anything you can do with them. I would hope that they would do a better job of something like that. Yeah, so apparently the world is procedural where, like, everywhere you go is just a new, like, biome and things. I think that's really, really interesting and nice. Again, like I said, it's by the No Man's Sky devs, so it's called Light No Fire here. But again, they did have, like, some interesting stuff. I think they showed the building. Yeah, so, like, if you guys look right here, there's clearly supposed to be, like, resource harvesting and buildings. They're definitely, like, bro right here is carrying a log, bro right here is chopping a tree. So, I'm excited. Like, if this is a procedurally generated, expertly crafted, expertly supported survival craft game, I'm all in. Like, hell yeah. Just, again, because it's made by the No Man's Sky devs, I am not going to pre-order this shit. If they give it to me via a key, I will be happy to play it for you guys. But I'm not gonna pre-order that. It looks nice, but I doubt it will look like that. I mean, it probably will, but we'll see. It's one of those deals where you have to be cautious, especially with a studio that has absolutely, like, grifted people on the launch originally. So, Nagrand was right outside. You're not wrong. Nagrand is one of the game's most beautiful zones. Fair point on Conan, but what about Final Fantasy VII Remake? What about it? Am I going to finish the remaining games? Bro. I'm not going to say never, but I'm going to say that's down the list. There's a whole lot. Light No Fire? Yeah. Yeah, definitely looks interesting. And supposedly it is multiplayer, so we shall see. But yeah, it's one of those deals where I got reminded of that because I saw a trailer for it today and I was like, okay, this could be good. A good one to fuck around with the boys in, right? Yeah, that's like, I'm excited for that because again, like, that's honestly, I can have fun and play Conan solo, but I have more fun when people play with me in Conan. Like it's not that the game is not good. It is. It's absolutely fantastic, and that's why I say like I can play it solo. But it's also one of those deals where I think the fun of a survival craft game is like literally not just the survival aspect, but also the community aspect that you get from it. I mean, it's the same thing with like Minecraft if you think about it that way. Only Square was smart and make the 7 remake trilogy on one disc. And like I said, I've heard a lot of like negative things about the second game in the series now. Kind of glad that I did drop it. We'll see. Maybe at some point I will go back to it and try to finish it, but I'll be real with you guys. I don't think I'm getting the third game. We got to do it. December is Minecraft month. Maybe if you can get Profit to host the server. Granted, again, I don't know how much time I'm going to have in December. That's like, right now, my schedule is jam-packed. Obviously, because the girlfriend is part of it, but holidays in general are jam-packed. Like, we're still trying to, like, work in D&D on the side. We're still trying to, like, again, like, come up with, like, community nights for, like, movies and stuff like that. So, it's rough for trying to balance everything, especially when I'm sitting here telling you guys, like, hey, my streaming schedule is going to be a little bit in flux, and it may not be like as it has been in the past. What's a girlfriend? So it's a friend that you have that is female. Hmm? Yep. A shiny rare spot. He already has it up, does he? I didn't think he did. I think because like I think he has to pay for it. I'd have to double check. But sometimes they follow you home. I mean, if they follow you home and you didn't ask, that may be just a stalker. Came over twice, but I let her in. That is your prerogative. I get that my friend and I want to take some advanced shooting lessons, but looking at the schedule, we'll be waiting till New Year. I mean, and I think that's fine, right? Like something like that, you just have to like say like, hey, it's just not in the cards right now, and just wait. Like again, it's kind of the same deal for us with D&D. Usually towards the end of the year, it gets harder and harder to schedule D&D because everybody is doing different stuff, right? So at the end of the day, it's like if we have to like postpone until like the turning of the new year, it's not the end of the world. Like you just put stuff off. Oh, a drop. Now that we're all the way at the end of the event. Thank God. Okay, let's go see how I'm doing on this. And then chat, we definitely got to go over Guda Guda. Guda Guda. Okay, I think that was the last item I needed. Choomp. Choomp. Yep, so everything else, and we did pass the 3 million mark. So yeah, everything else is literally icing on the cake at this point. It is free real estate, as you would say. Let's see, Rider, Lancer, Archer. Oh, about to get the Archer Grand, so I guess I'll grab this. Who queued this up? I queued this up, damn. Boots with the fur. I feel like it still could be. I think you're right. Time for seeing mini Nobus driving cars. Yep. I'm happy that we at least got like one more Halloween out of JP here. Also, let me see. I think I did my daily roll after the turn. Yeah, because I did it like I realized and I was like, oh, I did it at like 2:45 my time, which normally resets at 3 p.m. But because it's daylight savings and the game operates on UTC, which does not change, yeah, reset on JP right now actually happens at like 2 p.m. So I think I did my daily after the turn. Which again, I'm still going to complain that this is way too many effing banners. Yep. Did you enjoy the double Liz? I thought it was that was pretty cool. What do you mean the double Liz? I mean like for the event, the fact that we got two different Liz's? Yeah, I think it's fine. There's a second row of banners. That's how long it is. Bro. Come on, load. Like all of these are banners. You can't even like see it all because of that. There you go. So like look at that shit. It's over 100. Yep. And I mean, you have this little like thing, but again, this is so much that it basically breaks the game having this many banners. Because like imagine there's like one banner here you want to find. I'm sorry, this is just awful. Like this is terrible for the interface. They had like 30 banners before and I said like that was a lot, but it was still okay. 100 banners is like this is just stupid. Like ask me what's on rate up. I can't specifically tell you. I could just tell you it's like, yeah, there's some lancers, there's some archers, and there's some extras. That's it. Like, and thank you to you guys that actually did like and retweet uh the stream. I appreciate that. Wait, did Todd Howard do another update for Skyrim? Oh no, it was for Fallout 4. Todd. That means all the Fallout 4 mods are probably broken again. I mean, like, I get why they do it, but it's just a shame. Huh. Yeah, there are some people that feel like Arc Raiders should be considered Game of the Years as well. Oh my god. Somebody, if you guys remember the scene where Phenomena Man like shows up the first time, like somebody patched that out to instead be Omni Man showing up. So they basically modified the game. Gamers, your mods are broken. Yep. Okay. Can't they divide them into tabs based on class? Still gonna be a lot, but it'd be better. Yeah, I think they're just not prepared for like this level of stuff in the interface, and it's just a problem. And I'll be honest, like, you guys can tell me, but I don't think I've ever seen another gotcha game have this many banners. Like, ever. Like, maybe it is a thing, but hmm. Or just that special. Yep. And Zelfer, thank you for the resub. Appreciate it. Thank you for the 57. How are you doing today? I don't know why I didn't hear that, but I did see it. Okay. So, chat, we have to discuss Guda Guda now. There's too much shit on JP right now. It's funny because it's like there's so many campaigns and yet like not much actually going on. Guda Guda Super Goyaku. Hmm. Wait, so that was Thursday? No. No. They got off of the dreaded Wednesday and went to Thursday? That's impossible. That can't be. This can't be my FGO that constantly sandbags me. The 29th, the 30th, 1st, and the 2nd. So 4 days in. Okay, they did give us a schedule. Oh, perfect. They put it down here. So, and if we filled this in, this would be like the 20th, be the 21st, the 22nd, and this would be the 23rd. You could probably expect the raids on the 23rd. Okay, sorry. I had to back end math that. There's a little bit of an issue there. Oh, oh, thank God. Oh, I thought I accidentally hit X on stream. That would have been really bad. I legitimately thought I actually like hard closed down OBS, which has not happened in a hot second, but it be what it be. Yeah, isn't there a way to turn this shit to dark mode? I feel like they're up. Ah, oh, my eyes. Right in the eyes. Just close the stream. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely accidentally done it once before. But it's been a hot second since I have. Ah. Bum, bum. Hello, Katana. How's it going? Guda Guda soon? Yep, we're gonna be talking about that. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna use a black background for this one. That's okay with you? I don't know if okay is still here. Also, let me double check my camera here real fast just to make sure it's not like going to all shit. Uh-huh. I forgot I had a power outage. Yeah. All right. Subscribe for more and something quirky. Okay. Hey guys, my name's Kadroth, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Guda Guda Super Goryaku. Is the upcoming Guda Guda event here on NA, and it already has had its pre-campaign announced, as you guys should have seen here. Again, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that the way these usually work is they give us a little bit of a time frame, and you guys can see the pre-campaign lasts until the 18th, so usually you guys can expect that the 19th will be the live stream, and then the 20th will be the actual release of the game. Or not the game, but the event. So this has been the sort of like adjustment that they have been doing for a long time now. We'll see. Maybe they'll mix it up on us, but that would mean that the event would probably go live on Thursday instead of Wednesday, as we've had for the past couple events. So you guys can see on JP that happened pretty much on the 29th for them. So this would be about 9 days earlier than JP had it. It does come to us a little bit earlier than we were originally anticipating. This is probably just due to the sort of push for things like Thanksgiving and such, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing, and this does give us a little bit more time before, say, the lotto. So this is going to be an interesting one because this Guda Guda in particular has quite a bit of interesting stuff at play. So this is only going to be a Fuyuki required event. It will last for 3 weeks, including deep into December. So again, this maybe helps them out on the back end because that will give us a little bit more kind of wiggle room there for any other campaign they want to run and or the lotto at the end of the year, which we'll be doing a guide for that. Just stay tuned. Basically, this event is going to be sort of standard par for the course Guda Guda affair. However, while there is going to be a point ladder in this event, there is also going to be a raid quest. This raid quest actually happened pretty much on the 4th day of the event. So you guys could expect that if we get the event on the 20th, probably by the 23rd, you would have the raid quest. But again, that's assuming that the start time is when, I'm kind of guessing it to be at this point in time. We do have Takeda Shingen and Nagakura Shinpachi coming out as our new gacha units for this. I do have videos on all of them. And as a welfare, we also get Saika Magoichi, who is a single target archer. We do get a little bit of a new option there for you guys in that regard. As the new welfare, Saika Magoichi is going to get her 2x experience bonus. Definitely something you want to take advantage of. So level her during the event so that you actually have more efficient leveling of her. And from there, we're going to go ahead and move on to the actual event mechanics. So you guys can see you're going to get her from advancing the story, but you're not going to get her permanently until you finish the story. You'll get items basically from the point reward ladder by gaining the Makai Rage points. It may be translated a little bit differently here on the NA server. And by exchanging the event currencies, the Takeda handle, the Bishamonten sticker, and the Imagawa Yaki in the shop, that's going to be how you're going to get your sort of shop currencies and get your shop items from that. So again, this is going to be kind of the general flow of the event. It is a point ladder, as we've seen many Gudas before. And then the raid quest will come in on basically the 4th day. And you guys can see there's definitely some nice materials at play in this. So definitely something you might want to pay attention to and try to take advantage of. Just don't expect the raids to stay alive for very long. That is sort of the par for the course with a lot of raid events. Now, as we look at the event bonuses, you guys can see all of our new units, including the new welfares, new gacha units, as well as another very interesting character here is going to be at 100% damage bonus. So there is going to be a second banner for this, and we'll talk about it as we move through, but that's going to be involving another SSR. You also have older Guda Guda units that are going to be coming in at the 50% damage bonus. They also do get bond bonuses for this, but there is no drop currency bonus or anything like that. Thankfully, that sort of thing has become a little bit of a gimmick of the past, but it is something to keep your eye out for if it ever does happen again in a future event. Looking at the event cards here, this is going to be your event CEs. We have How to Life. This is going to be the point CE. And at MLB, it's not going to be a whole lot to write home about. It's split stats, but it is starting gauge of 50% at MLB, so it's definitely going to help you guys out for things like the raid if you guys want to try to use it for that. You're also going to have your 4-star and 3-star experience CE, so this is actually a great time to roll out your FP just for making FP bombs. If you've never seen any sort of thing on that as to how to make a craft essence bomb and stuff, definitely check out my video on it. It is absolutely worth your while to do it the efficient way so that you guys actually do get a little bit more bang for your buck rather than not making bombs at all, in which case you'll just get absolutely shafted in terms of the QP costs. Taking a look at the event command codes here, we have Invincible Hajime-chan, and that is going to be increasing critical damage of 15% of the engraved card and 2 critical stars when attacking using the engraved card. This is actually not a bad one. This is a pretty good hybrid between crit stars and crit damage, and I do recommend it, especially if you have a very crit happy unit or just somebody in general that you want to be hitting very hard. Hosho Tsukige here is going to be our 4-star one, and it's going to increase the critical star absorption by 50% of the engraved card, and the critical damage by 10%. So also a really, really nice crit one. Definitely one that's not like necessarily card aspected though, so you don't have to like put this on a buster card if you don't want. So this does free up options for things like trying to soak all the stars to your arts card and stuff like that if you so choose. And then Drive Nobu here, which is card locked. It's basically saying when it's engraved on a quick card, you will gain 3 critical stars when attacking using the engraved card. So not the best, but honestly, for a 3-star one, not too bad. Looking at the login campaign, you guys are going to get some apples. Again, this is an interesting one because JP started doing this sort of thing as a remedy for the kind of storm pod situation because they had to run their storm pods during an event. And at this time, they didn't have half-cost storm pods during an event. So it's kind of why they started giving out free apples. I don't think NA will necessarily get this, but it is something to watch out for. There's also a strengthening here for Hijikata. This is basically going to be on his 3rd skill. It increases his own critical star absorption for 3 turns, increases his own critical damage based on the remaining HP for 3 turns, which is what it already did. But it's also going to charge his NP gauge, something he sorely needed, and deal damage to himself. So it's just actually going to help him get to a NP and allow him to be a lot more functional as a sort of like one-shot capable unit, or maybe somebody that has to do it multiple times. So I do really like the buff for Hijikata. It's yet another in a string of buffs that has helped him kind of come a long way as a unit. Looking at our point rewards here, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time going over this, but naturally there are some really, really nice things. You do have things like tickets in there, as well as Saika's sort of materials that you need for her as a welfare. And you guys are going to end up also getting your command codes from this, as well as things like gold foes and ascension mats and QP and mana prisms. Also some crystallized lures here, and definitely just a lot of like fodder CEs as well. That being said, 3 million points is the end of the ladder, so that's going to be where you guys are going to want to get to ultimately. Keep in mind, this is pretty standard now at this point for point events. A lot of them do go to like 3 million, and so a little bit, you kind of are done usually at like roughly the 2 million mark, but then that last million, while you don't get a whole lot of rewards, still pretty lucrative if you can manage to get to the end. So I do recommend you guys actually go for the full 3 million if possible. Take a look at the event shop. Again, the Takeda handle here is going to be your gold CE, or not gold CE, but gold material. You're going to end up getting a copy of Saika here, 2 copies of the welfare CE for the event, a crystallized lore, Saika coins, evocation leaves, and then your gold foes, spirit roots, mirrors, magatamas, and obsidian daggers. So a whole lot of good stuff here. Just don't do yourself a favor, don't buy the command code removers. They're absolutely not worth it. Looking at the silver materials here, you get another copy of the welfare CE, a basically crystallized lore here as well, more Saika coins, more evocation leaves, yet another gold foe, and then even more ascension mats. And then looking at the bronze, you guys are going to end up getting yet another copy of the CE, another crystallized lore, kind of more par for the course here. But instead of a lot of ascension mats, this time you're going to get a lot of foes and just experience cards here in the bronze level. But you do still get some ascension materials. So taking a look at the main quest, I'm not going to end up spoiling for you guys, but just very quickly running on down, you guys can end up seeing you do get some nice drops at the end, including a grail. So definitely one you guys don't want to miss in that regard. Taking a look at the free quests here. Again, as we scroll through, it should become very apparent as kind of your early nodes here are going to be that like day 1 sort of node. They're not going to be too great. They are what they are. And then you'll progress on with the nodes getting even more hard as you kind of advance. And just kind of looking through here. So this one appears to be probably our 90 plus. It is a 213 node. And then yes, this would be our 90 plus plus. So take a look at the 90 plus. Looks like it is a all caster node, 213. Shouldn't be too difficult if you have a solid rider. Obviously, Takeda Shingen is going to be solid for something like this. Do keep in mind, again, your welfare CE for the event is a point CE. and is a starting charge C, so you can definitely make use of it to kind of get yourself a little bit of additional charge. And realistically speaking, it's not too rough of a hurdle here, as your highest health enemies are 140k in the middle wave and 182k in the final wave. If you don't have someone like Takeda Shingen, there are many other rider options that should work for you guys here. Realistically speaking, this should not be too terrible, especially if you guys are, say, beyond LV6 and have access to Habitrot. Taking a look at the plus here, this is a 131 Berserker node. Definitely a little bit more spicy in terms of health. Definitely something you're going to watch out for because you have a 300k enemy there in the middle wave. So while you're also going to need somebody that can deal enough damage to actually like kill the 800k enemy there, you're also going to want somebody that can deal enough AoE damage instead of single target to be able to take out the middle wave. So you're going to see people trying to kind of brute force it with some of their high octane, high NP level AoE units. But because this is Berserkers, a lot of units work here. Just keep in mind, the only way you're really going to get damage bonuses from the event-centric units. That may be something that can play into your strategy here. Not anything that you need to worry about too much. If you feel like you can't do this node, get it done the one time, drop back to the 90 plus or even the 90 node, and you guys should have plenty of capability of farming the event efficiently. Plus, again, you will have the raid quests. So as we move on to that, you guys can see there are going to be quite a bit. Let's go ahead and open them up, see what they're all about. So you guys can see you do have the Imagawa General here. Definitely get some points from that. Definitely get some Ascension materials as well as some shop materials. So there's a whole lot to be gained here. Also some QP for those of you guys that are lacking. Just keep in mind, if you're worried about like maybe farming this a lot, you do have a lotto coming up at the end of the year. So maybe hold on to some apples for that. Don't blow your whole load because that can definitely put you in a bad spot. But again, there are going to be unique mechanics for each of these. Definitely something you guys are going to want to consider. So taking a look at this, again, you guys can see you do have about looks like there's a different health value for each of the raids. We have 4 million on the first one, 3 million on the second, 3 million on the third, 3 on the fourth, 3 on the fifth, 16 million on the sixth. And the sixth one will be, I guess, the final one that'll be around. There's quite a bit here, quite a bit of nice materials that you guys can gather from it. Some of these are, again, going to be AoE raids, so definitely something to pay attention to, as that's going to make you want to try to kill these side ads. You will get some drops from that naturally. I have seen people before in raid events where they try to skip the side ads and just kill the main enemy. You can do that. I don't necessarily recommend it. I don't think it's necessarily a good idea for that to be something that you guys try. But also keep in mind there are different difficulty levels here, and so things will scale up to at least a much more difficult health value. Your best bang for your buck is almost always going to be to do the hardest difficulty level that you can. It's usually going to get you better drops. So I do recommend trying to do the highest level. Just keep in mind, when we're starting to talk like 1 million HP, that can be rough for some accounts if they don't actually have the capability of pulling it off. Take a look at the challenge quest here. This one's just going to be against Weisagi Kenshin. She's going to be our second banner unit, as we already mentioned. But that's definitely going to be a little bit difficult because Weisagi Kenshin is a single target arts ruler, but she is somebody that removes buffs before damage goes out on her NP. One of the effective ways would be trying to prevent her to get to an NP if you want to try to counter her. Obviously, you could try to blitz her and try to use someone like, say, like Jalter or, Tyra to try and kind of get through. Keep in mind that ability to buff strip is going to be very, very dicey. You might want to take somebody that's buff removal resistance. You might want to have somebody that has drained to try and prevent her from getting to that NP, or maybe even somebody that can kind of stun her and keep her locked down. That would be my recommendations for this. And you guys can see every 4 times she's attacked by a Noble Phantasm, she will increase her NP gauge to max automatically. So keep in mind, this may be something where maybe you try to get the job done with crits instead. That could definitely work for you. Just pay attention and try to keep a mental head count as to how many times you guys are actually sitting there and firing off a Noble Phantasm against her so that you don't auto-charge it and end up in a bad spot. Taking a look at the summoning campaigns, we already mentioned the first one here. It's basically going to be the return of Mori Nagayoshi, who is a limited 3-star, alongside our 2 new units. Takeda Shingen's an interesting one. I do have a video out on him, as I mentioned earlier, but he is somebody in the future that with the 5th append can actually become a Black Grail looper. So it is a really, really interesting way of handling things for him as a rider. Take a look at our gotcha CEs. We do have an all attack scaling CE here, Seaway Meteor Shower. It is invuln pierce, as well as NP damage and crit damage. So to me, this is actually a very, very nice craft essence. Not necessarily something you have to have, but this would be a potential good one for like challenge scenarios, as well as potentially just kind of staying power, as well as having the attack up, all attack scaling on this. So very good offensively as a CE. Northern Willow is split stats, it's NP gauge per turn, arts up, and critical damage up. And then your 3-star, while the art is fantastic, is going to be a little bit one that most people are just probably not going to care about too much, with it just being a quick up and critical star per turn. Your second summoning campaign will be the return of some of our older Guda Guda units. So Okita Soji, Hijikata Toshizo, Saito Hajime, and Mori again going to be on here. You guys can see there will be a little of a pairing with Okita having the 4-star and 3-star with her, and then simultaneously Hijikata having the same. So there will be quite a bit of capability to pull these. Unfortunately, these CEs that are going to be available on it are going to be the new CEs, not some of the older ones, so you're not going to be getting Poster Girl here or anything like that. And then again, your true second banner, aka your third banner here, is going to be Uesugi Kenshin. She is a fantastic new unit. I also have a video out on her. But like I mentioned, she's a really good like challenge unit and boss shredding unit, as she does have that ability to buff strip. She is a ruler, so she's going to be able to take quite a bit of punishment. And she is arts, so you do have that synergy there with other really strong arts supports to allow her to just really pop off and hit people hard. And then for our fourth campaign, we're going to get the return of Izumo no Okuni, as well as Okita Soji Alter and Sen no Rikyu, all paired alongside Mori. So again, if you're trying to just isolate one of these units, this is a fantastic way to do it. But we're also going to have the Friend Point campaign, where we kind of get the rerun on Oda Nobukatsu, as well as some of the old limited craft essences from that time. So, like I mentioned before, this is a really good time to spend your FP, not just to get you guys maybe some event CEs from the 3-star variety for the event, but also because you can get these sort of experience craft essences that can really help you with making craft essence bombs. And again, Oda Nobukatsu copies and or coins for him if you're worried about having enough for things like the 4th and the 5th append in the future, and potentially just grail casting and using them for fodder. So it is what it is, but those are going to kind of be your other ones. Now, I did want to briefly mention Avalon was nice enough to put together a nice little kind of primer / guide for the Guda Guda raids. Not really like any comp strategies in here, just, hey, these are what each of these enemy types do and what you guys can expect. So again, if you want to, I'll put the link in the description. You guys can definitely check it out, and hopefully it helps you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the review of Guda Guda. Let me know if you're going to roll for any of the units here, or if you're saving for the new year, and which raid you guys think you'll be going after primarily. I will see you guys for the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good one. Okay. There you go, chat. How well does Kenshin hold up over 2 years? Kenshin's a really good one. I'm going to say she is somebody that I feel like, because she's going to be neutral, you might want to consider getting like a second copy of her. But usually she compares very favorably against the likes of like Estrella and Martha. So like, she is not a bad unit by any stretch of the imagination, because I think a lot of people were expecting that like they would not need to roll Kenshin at all, because like Estrella would just be better. And to be fair, an NP5 Estrella is comparable, but she is better. And there is something to be said about that. So like, if you want a more powerful single target ruler, she can definitely pack a punch. Especially because of her battery and the punch, yeah. Yep, like I said, I rolled her on JP just for the buff strip, because it was really nice to have something like that. I can imagine she'll blast through the OC3 too. Yeah. Okay, chat. Oh god, it's already 9:30. I didn't even realize it had gotten so late. I have an MP5 Estrella and I still want her. Yeah. For the Pokédex, I mean, you guys don't have to collect them all. It is what it is. Okay, chat. So we can't play Dispatch because we've already like finished that off. I can play Europa, but Europa's kind of boring for you guys. I can play the Spider-Man DLC if you guys want to see that, or I can play more Conan. The choice is yours. Conan? Okay. Do more Conan. Play Freebird. Whatever you want. I am fine either way, though I do need to boot the server up. Because I had a power outage earlier today, so it went kaput. Give it a second. Let it run. But how was chat's weekend? Anybody do anything fun? Also, I have not played Conan since I last played it with you guys on stream. I was busy the entire weekend. Okay, let me give it like 5 more seconds here. I don't like clicking in too early because if the server doesn't show up as being online, then did it just crash? I've never seen Conan crash in the main menu. That's kind of wild. Let me close OBS, see if that helps. It happened to me a couple times. Really? Interesting. Now, chat, would you guys want me to get a key to Ninja Gaiden? Not something we can play tonight, but... Yoink! On Dune 2? Yeah, Dune I think is a spicy one. Okay. So, if you guys remember where we left off, we have basically made our little kind of lake base here. Let's see, where did we leave off? So, we had the Nordheimer Archer, there's the blacksmith. Ah, right, here he is. I couldn't remember where I left him. But we did finally get a fighter here, and fighters are fantastic. Absolutely something I generally want. Continue to put some stuff in the box. Continue to put some hide on here. Not gonna tan the hide just yet. Fur tassets are not the best. So we're just gonna give it to the archer here. Give bro some pants. Let him wear a nice kilt. If you're gonna Gaiden, you'll rage. I mean, what else is new? I've played Dark Souls. I rage. I'm a barbarian. I would like to rage! That is par for the course at this point, I would say. Bro doesn't actually have too much gruel, so I'm not going to stay out for him too long. Let's just go up here, check these NPCs. See if there's anything I need to take off of them. What? Why is there no NPCs here? I thought you were a ranger? I am a ranger. And if you stick around till the end of stream, Bob, I'll tell you about that. Maybe. I might tell you tomorrow. No. Okay, is that... Are there just... Okay, so there's no NPCs that spawned other than... Do I need to reboot the server? That's weird. Is it just like struggling to load is why?
Steel and sparks! Death to the Outlander!
Nope. Nice try.
Ymir will have your heart, Outlander!
Ymir will not have my heart. We got a runestone. I did not intend to come in here, but nothing else is like respawned.
I can see you, exile! Steel and sparks! For the north!
If I could get my hands on like even a iron truncheon, this would be a whole lot better. Okay, coin purse, numbing wraps. I already have some settlers gauntlets, so that's nothing new. Okay, we've got two. That's just a smelter one. I don't care about her. As a blacksmith 3, I might care about him.
Death to the Outlander! For the north! Ymir will have your heart, Outlander! Death to the Outlander and your fire! For the north! Steel and sparks!
I have noticed that if you don't, like, interrupt some of these people...
Death to the Outlander!
Oh, what? How are you hitting me? You, like, turned around mid-swing?
For the north!
Holy shit. Okay. So we got them unconscious. Do I have any reps? Like just the numbing wraps. Kind of weird, because I should have others. I will go ahead and put them on my bar. I
do like the idea of stabby stab. Because this guy is always going to be a shit spawn. And then there's also a wolf here. Pick him. Get him finished off. Take all of his stuff. I could take the ivory, but it really doesn't do much for me. That's just more Heirs of the North stuff. Can skin the dog. Ooh, that is actually valuable. Actually valuable. Still just fire water. This is one of my chief complaints about the game. Sometimes it has the old jank of like, oh, you can't get somebody out of a door. Okay, steel pick. Steel bars, silver, gold bars, iron reinforcements, and another steel pick. Yeah, all of that is useful. Steel in general, you need a ton of. Once I get access to the dismantling bench, I will be able to do a whole heck of a lot with it. So we can take Beast of Burden. That is the trait that Bob normally takes. It actually helps you functionally have infinite carry weight because you can, while over encumbered, still dodge and move at full speed, which means you can run, you can dodge, you can jump, you can do everything that you normally can do, even though you're over encumbered. So your carry weight doesn't matter anymore. Or you can just say, hey, your structures are able to be built bigger and better. That's usually the one I go with, not because I don't value carry weight, I do, but because I literally like having a nice structure. We're gonna go take the blacksmith back. Just because I fear, like, getting overextended and dying. There should be an improvement over the blacksmith that we got. Again, there are different tiers. So there's like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So getting this dude, dragging him back to base. Conscripting him. Gonna make it so that I at least get a little bit more. That perk only matters while building. Correct. Make Bob carry your stuff? Well, that would require Bob to play the game. And I don't think Bob is in a Conan mood. Oh, look at that. Archers are doing a thing. Oh, look at that. Go get him. He got a kill. He did a thing. Thankfully, you don't have to stock archers with ammo. That would actually be kind of annoying. All right, we got another entertainer. I now have multiple entertainers. They're just going in the bench because I have nowhere else to put them. Base is a little bit too small. We already have one out, so we gain the effect of having it answer. Why do I have so much feral flesh? You promised me flesh! Or something like that. You have the cook. Where is my currently existing blacksmith? You are only a blacksmith too. What a shame. Be gone! And give me your spear, because I actually want that spear. Okay, so we do get him. It is getting dark. I really don't want to be dealing with wolves in the dark. I don't know why my bro is being so passive, but he is. Gonna stick that in there, slap in some more seeds. Way I have infinite gruel. Oh, really? That ordered all the archers and stuff to attack. I've never seen that before. I cannot believe it hit me. The game literally didn't let me attack there. Oh well. Feed me Seymour. I see. What's up, Cal? How's it going? Just got done with FGO. I don't know that breach clout gonna do nothing. Where are you? You're the smelter. There, smelter. Why can I not open your inventory? I think it's because my bro's like right on top of her. Or she's just uninteractable. I don't know. There's definitely some issues going on here. Maybe the Taskmaster could use pants. I think he could. Or close enough to pants. Okay, so now we have Blacksmith 3. This is definitely really nice. I believe you need a Blacksmith 3 to do certain recipes like the steel reinforcement conversion. Not creating steel reinforcements, but I think it's like crafting them down. I'm beginning to bloat here, so let's take one quick look. So we're at maximum expertise. Now I need to decide a second stat. Strength is going to help my strength weapons, which I'm currently using one with a spear. Also, my other favorite's a greatsword, so it's going to be one as well. Authority is going to help with like concussive damage and your thralls. Agility is going to help with agility weapons and like jumping. Vitality is just going to be health. And grit, I think grit is like your defense stat nowadays. I'm honestly like, grit's a little bit in a weird spot. I'm actually going to go into authority. This is going to help my thralls do a little bit more. It's going to help me do more concussive damage in the end, which is going to be very nice. At least I think so. Unless I'm misremembering. I don't know. Either way. Authority does help my thrall, and my thrall is a lot stronger combatant than I am. That's usually what I go with. Let's give him some more gruel. Gonna put the stone consolidant in here. Gonna put the iron bars in here. Gonna put the silverstone in there. Gonna turn some of this on, throw in some more stone, throw in more feral flesh because somehow I just have an unending supply of it. Gonna let it run. I actually have exquisite meat, so thankfully there are like preservation things that you can use. You don't have to worry about too much like stuff expiring. Early game stuff will expire on you, but if you're fast, you can very easily get to the point where you can utilize it. And all things considered, we're actually being quite fast.
I do have the fireball cauldron. For lack of a better place, I'm just going to throw all my gold stuff on it, as well as my steel fire. I've got several items now, but ultimately not a big problem. It is actually daylight. Take a look at the knowledge. See if there's anything I kind of need to craft. Dismantling bench. Okay, so this is ideal. You really, 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 really want a dismantling bench. It just helps clean up clutter in your base. Stuff that like I've been holding on to for a long time is now no longer a problem because of that. Let's see. Remember what it's under. Is it general? Yeah, so there's the dismantling bench, but there's actually an improved dismantling bench as a reward. You need to remember which thing has it. Here. Unlock the fluid press knowledge. Put human flesh. Put coal. Mantle and items. So I'm still going to have to build the dismantling bench, which is so unfortunate, but it is what it is. The fluid press should be over here. I can't unlock it until level 28, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to have to craft a dismantling bench one way or the other and live with it for a bit. We just need normal bricks and insulated wood. Insulated wood, little bit annoying. You actually need a drying rack for that. The game's not very intuitive in that sense. It doesn't necessarily tell you these things. We do already have the drying rack, so let's see. Gonna sneak out some of those bricks. And what we're gonna do is I'm going to drag in 100. What? Oh, God. Huh? Why? What? Oh, because my numlock's not on. What? How's my numlock not on? Okay. We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. There you go. Alright, so there's the 100 that I need for that. Otherwise, I'm gonna put the other 100 back in here just so I don't have to go harvest more. I'm gonna put the steel bars in here because I don't know where I got them, but I did. And then I need insulated wood. So I'm gonna take this wood. I'm going to take this. And I'm going to look at what we need to make a dryer. So I need shaped wood. Which is interesting because we do have a carpenter. Craft 10 of it. How much do I need? 20? So I'll tell her to craft 10 more. And then I need some twine, of which I have no plant fiber at the moment. Actually, kind of wild. Yep, you need sap for it. And I actually think I might need a better carpenter, unfortunately. There is a little bit of a requirement, if I remember correctly, for that. Now, thankfully, there is a camp that I know of that I can get that sort of thing. That would be what we would focus on. Okay. Gave me the shaped wood. Gonna put that there for now. Again, I'm just working with limited space, so that's all I'm really trying to do. We do need bark, and then usually that will allow us what we need. So let me grab my handy dandy pickaxe. No, sorry, not pickaxe. Well, pick, but not pick, but pickaxe. God, my brain's just all over the place. Anyways, pickaxes are both a pick and an axe combined. So it works out amazingly well if you go to like chop trees. You should get just about everything. You can see I get wood, bark, and resin all from that. Makes it very, very worth. So usually the second you get your hand on a pickaxe, you quote-unquote win the game. Not really in the sense that you actually win, but just it starts making gathering a whole lot easier. You can see you get just a ton of stuff. Because instead of having to like carry a bunch of things around, you can kind of just do that and it will work. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn it on. We're going to get dry wood out of that. I'm going to put the other wood in here. I'm going to put the wolf pelt in there. Actually, going to take the normal hides out. I'm going to let that run. And then I'm going to put just normal hides over here in the tanner's bench. There's not a whole lot I can do with them at the moment. And you can see I don't have a recipe for insulated wood. I don't know if one of you guys can Google foo it, but I don't believe there is a actual requirement other than having a better carpenter. Somebody in chat can tell me otherwise, but it may require like tier 3 building materials or something, but I believe from memory that was the requirement. It's a better carpenter bench, if I remember correctly. Can you double check for me? I don't know if you have the capability to do so, but... Oh, that is a Emir Archpriest. Archpriests are somewhat valuable. It'd be difficult to get your hands on a nice one.
Outlander.
I don't know how bro hit me through that, but also I don't know how I've missed killing him. Okay, he did die. Oh, thank God, a chest piece. So even if I didn't get a new chest piece there, I would have had this. So this currently, Dafari chest piece has a armor value of 14. This is an armor value of 18. So this would have already been an upgrade. But this is currently what my like thrall is actually wearing for gear. So this is an upgrade. Okay, you need apprentice stonemason knowledge, but otherwise just a carpenter bench. Stonemason. Well, I have apprentice mason and a carpenter bench and iron tools. You sure it's not journeyman? There's iron tools. And I had the carpenter's bench. Yes, sorry, journey. Okay, thank you. That definitely helps things. Yeah, I'm not sure why specifically you need journeyman mason for it. I do get that, like, that is the tier of building materials that can sometimes use insulated for the first time. I have no problem with that. I just don't know why specifically that's required to unlock it at the carpenter's bench. Like, that's just odd. So, interestingly enough, I was literally going to go towards a camp that potentially could have a carpenter. But there you go. So now we have it. So need dry wood and resin. We already have some resin. Thankfully, the process of drying wood creates resin. We don't have to worry too much about that. Resin is a little bit of a weird one, as if you use it for stone consolidate, you need to actually farm it. But if you're just doing wood and like drying out wood, resin's actually like self-sustaining, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know how much of this I needed. I need 50. Holy guacamole. And then the 100 bricks. Why is my carpenter so busty? Bro, you're an archer. You've upgraded to a full kilt. No longer are you a loincloth wearer. Who else needs pants? Let's give it to the busty carpenter. There. Have some pants. Even though you were exceedingly slow at your job. We need dry wood, we need stone consolidant. You're not wrong. Like, literally, depending on the building materials, you might need insulated wood, but for the most part, like, I at least feel like we end up using a ton of, like, tier 3 building mats, and that's basically the only time you would need it. Because it's like the initial couple of crafts, it's like you might need them for a well, you might need it for something like a dismantling bench, but it's ultimately not a big deal. The game robbed me? Why is it short? Because if I remember correctly, I should have done it where, like, there should have been 7 to spare. Wait, did I already pick some up? That's why. Oopsie. Oops. XD. So usually I will put the dismantling bench in an area that is, like, right by whatever I plan to drop off. Where did... Okay, there. I was gonna say, I know I saw it. Put the gold in there. Now we can start actually just dismantling stuff. Which is good, because that means I can start getting rid of some of the excess shit that's in my inventory. Because I really just don't need it. Steel short sword. I actually hate short swords in this game. They are just awful. Oh, rawhide bedroll. So all of this is just like the basic clothing. You can just easily get rid of it. You don't have to keep it, but it also doesn't really weigh anything, so I don't bother trashing it. Two-handed steel great axe. I'll definitely get rid of that. Again, it's made of steel. I'm already getting hardened steel stuff, so that is where I'm at on this sort of thing. Oh, these are great swords. Oops. I thought they were single. Oh, well, I do have a star medal, so it doesn't matter. Both of these are perfected steel, so they can go bye-bye. Because they're actually worse than the hardened steel. I will pass on my chest piece to those in need. Again, I kind of just do trickle-down gear, where if I'm not going to use something, it goes to a thrall that could use it, and then once I just don't care anymore, I basically just start shredding everything. There you go. Now I have far more inventory room. Still not ideal, but we can manage. Okay. Oh, damn it. Not what I wanted to do. Wanted to repair that which I needed 4 for. Sabaton made a Lubu song, A Tiger Among Dragons. Allies have no allies? Nice. Very interesting. We've got a runestone. I got the dismantling bench. I'm trying to remember what my goal was here. Craft dry wood and a wood dryer. That'll work. Craft insulated wood. That'll work. Craft iron reinforcements. That'll work. Sometimes you don't have to craft, you just have to pick it up. Build or upgrade a building piece. I think it has to be tier 2 or higher for this to work. So insulated wood's usually what I'll do because it's just easier. Okay. Unlock the water well knowledge. I don't wanna. So the water well knowledge is definitely like a useful one. However, because I am a worshiper of Mitra, I can functionally craft. Where is it? Maybe it's not there right away. I think I have to upgrade the shrine. But it's like I can get access to a better well. Also, hilariously enough, I'm not of the correct level to get that anyways, and I am literally on a lake, so I just don't need a well to save my life. So that is kind of a worthless one. All I get for it is supply materials anyway, so it's not a big deal. I think it was Dismantler is the one that I want. Which I still haven't unlocked the fluid press knowledge. Nor can I really. I will unlock fine crafts because that gets me the artificer one and also allows me to craft jewelry. Jewelry is not like super important, but basically it allows me to like work on like coins and things like that for later on. I could start going into sorcery. That could definitely help me out. But there's probably something I would rather get short term here, assuming I can. Scroll Taker, Stable Master. That gets me the Outrider one. And I need to place or access a stables. I need a stables. So crafting pieces should be under companions. Stables. I need bricks, shaped wood, and twine. Ironically enough, I have just the right amount of twine. Gonna have my girl make me some shaped wood. And I need 15 bricks, of which miraculously I have. I'm actually surprised by that. I must have run out of stone consolidate. Okay. That just says invalid building placement because it is actually valid. I'm putting it over here, not because I actually need it here, but because there's a wolf that spawns here. And I am just trying to get rid of the wolf spawns, so I don't have to deal with them at night. Okay, so now we just need to capture a foal. So, the whole reason I do this is because I want early access to horses. Why? Because horses are your best mode of transportation in this game, and they can increase your carry capacity. They are far better when it comes to carrying things than, say, a normal human. Doubly so when you start considering, like, what's the term that I'm looking for here? The fact that like getting teleportation stuff set up is like one of the end game goals of the game. Unless you use the Beastie Burden trait. I mean, even then, it still speeds you up. The horse is still faster than you are. But yes. I mean, ideally, it'd be so nice if Conan added like the quality of life to harvest things from horseback. Kind of like you have in like Ghost of Tsushima and stuff. Like, certain things like that, if they added it to the game, like this game would actually be goated. And that's to a degree, that's something that like Dune has, because you can harvest from like buggies and things like that, but kind of not the brightest idea. This is all sure as glory. If I remember correctly, this allows you to raise your horse's strength. It does count as food for them, but I also don't think it's actually the best thing. I think like the meta for horses now, because they don't really attack, is just to get more stamina. Before, horses used to engage in combat with you, and you actually kind of wanted them to deal damage, because if not, everyone was going to die, including the horse. But now it's not as big of a problem. I see a horse. Of course. Yep, so we captured a full. Animals are very heavy. They weigh like 50 pounds each. You usually only carry like 2 or 3 of them. That is a white wolf. That thing is demonic. That thing will kill my ass. It basically will like one-shot me. The horse is slowed by carry weight. Oh, that's unfortunate. I did forget you mentioned that. Well, I guess it would be faster carrying you to a location still. Just not so much on the way back. Hey, Nordheimer fighter. What do you say we go clubbing, big boy? But why am I going clubbing, you say? Well, I'm glad you asked, diligent chatter. You see, there's a little lass over here named Dina.
Death to the Outlander! Steel and sparks! Death to the Outlander!
I'm gonna let her get out of there, because I think she needs to attack. Plus, that is a white wolf again. He's corrupted. If I get spotted by that thing, I'm dead. We're gonna try to leash her over here. I hate archers, dude.
Who's there?
Aemir will have your heart out
Like, look at
there,
him. The corrupted wolf is like right there.
so I can carve it on your pyre!
Oh god, there's another one up top there. It's also becoming dark, which is not the best. And I believe there is like a bear or something in here. Because these are bear dens. You could, yep, I was gonna say you can technically build out here, but I don't really recommend it unless you want to contend with a bear. Like, wolf spawns are bad. Bear spawns are like kill you dead. You can definitely handle them, but only if you know what you're doing. But yeah, the whole reason I got Dina, she is a named archer. So for base defense, she will be quite nice. She's one of the better archers in the game. I don't like that I'm still in combat with this thing. Okay, there we go. So Dina taking a bit. We do have a Taskmaster 2, which does speed this timing up. Also gonna just keep jacking my points into authority. You guys can see when I get to irritate, that means that all of a sudden my thrall will start actually taunting. This will make it a lot easier to take on enemies, because the thrall will actually pull everybody to them, rather than me having to worry about them randomly de-aggroing and switching to me. Guys, this is just me crafting my horses. They craft really fast in here. I think it's due to my crafting setting timing. Actually, let me see. Oh, perfect. I can put Dina on the roof of the stables, which should make her safe. She could just guard the stable out here. Not that it will need much in the way of guarding. Because that's my horse. That's also my horse. And that's also my horse. Okay, so let's take a look at the horse stats. That's not the horse stats. Hold on. There. Okay. So, they do have growth chances. Usually I want one that has the highest to vitality and grit. So this is actually not a bad horse. This one is basically split between strength and grit. And this one, it's split between vitality and grit, but they're not as high as the percentiles on the first one. There you go. So again, there is strength in here. Strength really doesn't matter. These are the only two stats nowadays that matter to me. We're going to rename the horse to Dun Stallion. Even though he's not the right color, it would actually be for that one. But this will let me know which one I need to do. So now we got to unlock the saddle maker knowledge. This does start getting expensive when we start considering this stuff. And I actually can't get it because I don't have armor yet. Which we are keeping an eye on how many available points we have. If we've run out, we're not going to be able to like do a whole lot. So we have to be a little bit careful as to what we choose to invest into. So unfortunately, saddle maker costs 5. This sucker gets a little expensive, but now we have it. Now we have to craft a saddle. Unfortunately, in order for that to be a thing, I am going to need a saddler's work table. Means I need more shaped wood, leather, and twine. Honestly, the shaped wood is not a problem. Leather and twine are. I need 50 twine. Actually, leather's not really a problem either, now that I think about it. Come on, craft. Already becoming daylight. There we go, perfectly 50. Just pickaxe a tree. That wouldn't help with twine. Boy, you're sure taking a long time. I actually need a better carpenter. She is slow as shit. What I will pickaxe, though, is that wolf carcass out here, so that doesn't stick around. Throw that in there. I still really don't care for the feral flesh. So part of the other reason I haven't expanded the base yet is, realistically speaking, there is not much of a need to. I'm gonna go ahead and eat all of the human food there. Damn, bro getting pelted from 3 directions. Oh my god, this now makes like all of your thralls go into attack. It's actually kind of interesting. So part of the reason I don't have a like path down for them is 1, so that they can't leave, and 2, so that the wolf can't go get them. How about enough of your shit, wolf? Actually, I don't remember what I need to feed my horse. Feed him bark, vines. Usually, so the way diet works is going in order of left to right, top to bottom. It is the amount of health that they will restore. So actually, Ashura's Glory is really good to give still. I didn't even remember that. I do remember in the past certain foods had certain, like, things to it, but, not anymore. I'm gonna give him Asura's Glory. That will at least give him some healing. And again, we just need the shaped wood, which looks like the carpenter is finally done, now that I have killed all of the wolves. You got a saddler's work table. Easiest thing to do is to just craft a basic saddle. Again, you can see there are actually different things you can get to ride. You don't necessarily have to ride a horse. I do prefer the Poitan stuff, but I definitely don't have the twine for that. Not yet, anyways. Or sorry, not twine, silk. Which I will put over here, just so I remember, because it is my preferred saddle in terms of appearances. But for now, I need more twine, more leather, and a suspicious amount of iron bars, but shouldn't be the end of the world. There's a lot of Ashura's Glory south of the city. Oh yeah, like, it's just legitimately all over the Highlands. Like, literally, this is all Ashura's Glory right here, too. Eventually, at some point, you get, like, midnight flowers instead, and those are kind of annoying. Wolf meat? Yep. It is all wolf meat. All that feral flesh. I'm gonna put that back. Fine leather and ironic bars. I do still have the leather, so where's the iron? Actually, don't know that I have enough iron. Which, if that's the case, that's kind of wild. Oh my god, game, let me over. Okay, so now we can craft a warhorse saddle. Again, not the best, but hey, it's what it is. It'll allow me to ride a horse. That's really all that matters in the end. Have the warhorse saddle. Yep. And now I can ride him. Tackle an enemy while riding my horse. I think that'll work literally on just a like deer here. There we go. Attack an enemy while riding a horse. Oh, why did that deer run so far?
For the Lord!
Got him. Ah, right. That's the jab. Got him. I find it funny that, like, controlling a horse in this game is actually better than in Mount and Blade. If you guys have ever played the Mount and Blade series, it can be really hard to land some of your attacks. In this game, it is really not. And the horse does control how you would expect it to control. Give me that fur. Oh. Bro, where did you kill the archer? Did you just beat him into submission somewhere in the distance? I like legitimate... He must have fallen through the world because I don't see him. Which, Conan used to have a real problem with stuff falling through the world, but it's very rare now. It does happen, but not nearly as often. Oh, right, C. I keep thinking it's E to dismount. Okay, so with that, the journey of Outrider is functionally complete. I don't really care about the reinforced lance, and I don't really want to unlock the jouster knowledge for right now, since it's a nice one. I actually like jousting on the back of a horse. It can be an effective way of dealing damage to enemies, as you just kind of drive by them. But I don't really want to, like, waste the knowledge on it yet. It's down here. Yeah, see, costs 5. And while it looks like I have a lot of points, I actually don't. Like, I am on a pretty tight budget right now. Fishing traps are something I definitely want to get online, though, so let's go ahead and do that. Which, speaking of... Huh. chef? Catch fish using bait in a fish trap. Yeah, I guess so. Well, either way, I don't care. Oh wow, I need shaped wood for this and twine? What? All of a sudden, I just need shaped wood and twine for everything. Kind of, like, insane, not gonna lie. So basically, you just need fishing traps to be somewhat touching water. That's really all you need. I definitely need to get myself a sickle. I'm actually somewhat surprised that I haven't. There you go, you just put insects and stuff in here and it will generate fish. Of 3 different varieties. What's up, Burn? How's it going? Can wait for Grand Dual Archer. Nice. I'm grateful, Shisho, yes. For the Ska Turkey. There you go. You guys can see it's now generating fish in there. Fish are, obviously, you could use them in cooking, but the primary use that I have found for fish is of squeezing them for oil. And I know that sounds absurd, but that is legitimately, like, the best way to do it. You just need a fluid press, which I don't believe I can get yet. I'm gonna get to level 28. We're only level 23. But I'm gonna need the points eventually anyways for it, so may as well unlock it. And now that I actually have it, I can start crafting, like, max tier stuff. So, let me take a look at this. How do I make a repair hammer? I need wood and, of course, twine. Always twine. Always twine, chat. Dude, I like blew that thing up from one chop. So there's a reason I crafted a repair hammer. Realistically speaking, it does not matter. But with a repair hammer, you can equip it, you can look at something, and you can see the stability. So, why does that matter? Doesn't. But ideally, what you want with the attribute knowledge down here is you want things that are 25% more stable. Now, it does not matter for the purposes of my foundations, is what I'm remembering. I was sitting there thinking, it's like, oh, I need to rebuild all these foundations one by one, but I really don't. Where it would matter is, like, in this case. So, because it reduces stability loss by 25%, I would not have lost a full 20 stability here. So, basically, it changed it from you being able to go like 4 pieces out or 5 pieces out to now you can do like 2 more on top of that. So it's really, really nice. Mr. Side, thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. I don't know why my alerts are not working. Oh, that might be why. Sorry about that. JP's multiple banners right now, or the 10th anniversary bingo card I've cooked up months ago. Definitely the 100 banners right now. Kind of ridiculous. Just smash him. Okay. So, when we start to look at this... Ooh, Battlefield 6. How was Battlefield 6 for you, bud?
And if you guys haven't checked out Mr. Sideswipe, go do so. He's a good buddy of mine. I don't really want the Journeyman Butcher stuff. This is kind of, you're in the like gray area where shit just kind of sucks and you kind of need to just like gather your way out of it. Because it's just not a like good position to be in. You're just gonna see me gather a bunch of materials here. That's my horse! I've gained a level. There you go. That's simple. Literally just gathering is going to get you everywhere in this game. No new art today, Ahado. I talked to stream about that earlier. Is the new server still cheating? It cheated once on me, but not bad. It's just like, I took an extra hit of damage because the server was like, no, you didn't attack. I was like, what do you mean I didn't attack? Of course I attacked. Okay, so we are over encumbered, so I have to slow swim my ass back. I could potentially give it to my horse, but we're right here, so I don't really care. It's not a problem. Battlefield 6 always a good time. Wanted to play Umas, but they went into maintenance. Ah, gotcha. But I still have yet to pick up Battlefield 6 because the primary complaint is the primary complaint that I had, which is that the maps aren't that good. And it's like, I kind of want to see if they like expand the maps in the future, if that gets better. And then if it does, I will probably pick up Battlefield 6. For right now, I'm kind of like, eh. Actually, what am I doing? We are just going to craft a bunch of foundations. Whoops, kind of went too far. Kind of did, kind of didn't. Ah, no. I fell in. Unbelievable. And of course, I am short on wood now. Let's go cut down these trees. Map's not amazing in Conquest mode. They already added one map for free, though, so I hope that trend continues. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping, too, because I get the feeling that with the, like, Battle Royale just kind of sucking, that they're gonna keep, like, doing that. Because they're gonna need to keep the, like, main service alive. Now, that being said, I've not played the Battle Royale. I just heard it got really bad reviews, so I could not even begin to tell you if it's actually bad or not. Now I'm out of stone. You guys can see just how fast my experience raises from things like gathering. There we go. So now we have a much bigger, like, base to build with here. So now I don't have to be, like, nearly as concerned with placement about things. Though, eventually I will. Like, some of the later in-game stuff gets, like, really big. Guys, please just kill it. Like, SMH. Okay, so now we've got that done. Unfortunately, that did not level me up nearly as much as I was hoping. So it's like I could choose to expand the base even further, but let's take a look at things. Like, is there anything crafting station-wise that I need? So I have all that. Good on that. Could definitely create like a hearth here. I would need iron reinforcements. How ironic. Put the tidbit of iron that I got in there. A whole lot of iron bars over here on the saddler's table. Put that in. Have it craft me 50. You do also get experience for things being crafted. Not a whole lot, but it's better than nothing. You'll see my bar just ever so slightly tick up as things are getting crafted. You don't get a whole lot, but it's, again, not bad. Oh, actually do need to keep 150 of that out. Put 300 in there. And if it wants to keep going, it can. Really sad I didn't get John the Tinkerer now. I think another quality of life for Kona would be like being able to put down a blueprint and then building on it, kind of like Dune has. But I mean, things like that, I wonder if like Unreal 4 can even handle it. It'd be nice if it could. This is why you dismantle stuff. You do get materials back from it, so it's generally a good idea. Okay. Almost done crafting the reinforcements. I don't know why the Yamatai Hearth is so expensive in that regard. Yeah. So this will at least allow me to start moving everything off of that. Now I have actual room for meat. And plant fiber and seeds. And the cool part about living settlements is that guys will start to like actively move around. The hearth also provides a little bit of light while it's on. Definitely a nice touch. And there is some interesting like technology you can do with like sinking this into the ground. It's one of the few things I like about the Yamatai hearth. It's just aesthetic. Okay, still 24 and a half, just not getting much of anywhere. What do I need for improved companionship? Definitely would like the large chest. That'll help things out. And for just a normal wheel of pain, I need 30, which is how I get the iron truncheon. So the only other way is to basically just get it on my own. I don't like that idea. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to craft yet another truncheon. Because, chat, I'm going to gear myself up for taking on something that I have no business taking on because it will probably kill me and my companion. But if I can get it, it's worth. Why so many seeds, game? Always such seed. Always such wolf. Leather and branches. Branches should be easy. Probably plenty here on the carpenter's bench, as there is. Yep, so now I have 3 crafted truncheons. So basically I can give one to my companion because he will never break his. But then I can also have 2 on myself for if I run out. The reason why is, again, I don't have access to an iron truncheon, at least not easily. There is one that I can find in the game, but it is far away from me right now. It's all the way over in Saparamaru, which is down here. You can definitely make the trip and go get it, but we are nearing the end of stream, so I don't really want to go do that right now. Same thing, what I'm actually potentially going to do here, we're going to run over here, try to find ourselves a Sumerian Berserker, and try to 1v1 him. By 1v1, I mean 2v1, because we're not going to fight fair with this shit, because that Sumerian Berserker will one-shot us. But if I can manage to get him, the Sumerian Berserker will be far better than the Nordheimer Fighter that I was already planning on getting. So, low-key, kind of worth. But again, the ability to, like, ride all the way over there, get him, and come back, it's probably going to take me a good, like, 20 minutes at minimum. So, not something I necessarily want to do right at the moment. In the meantime, again, The little archer's stuff here is working out quite nice. Does look like I need some extra branches. And what we're going to do is basically this. This will let the archer step out a bit. Get a little bit more leeway for shooting things up close. Let them move around a little bit more, even though they can't get down from there. And that is ideally what you're trying to do. You're trying to create, like, firing platforms for the archer so that they can shoot down on things. There's a little bit of, like, actual, like, castle building in Conan. It's one of the things I really like about it that's not really present in a lot of the other games that I play that are, like, survival craft. They just don't let you have such, like, planned building capabilities, and I think that's a detriment of some of the other games that I've played, because it just feels like they're missing something at times that could just be a whole heck of a lot better. Well, let's continue to the crafting stations. Don't really need a hearth. Hearths are for if it's getting cold, and we are not actually in a cold weather zone. That's probably one of the stupid parts about the Highlands, is that they didn't make it colder. They should have, because it would have stopped you from going to it so easily. Because the Highlands are just kind of where everybody wants to be because of that. We can't make a tanner's table, but I'm pretty sure I already did. There's the improved tanner's table. Which for that, I would need iron. I actually do need to go get some. There is handy dandy wolf boy here. Okay. He died. Follower levels up, and we get to harvest iron. Iron, as you guys can see, really good at leveling me. It's probably what I should have come to. We go ahead and put that in. You can tell iron nodes again by the signature rust that's in them. Doesn't stand out as easily up here, but still pretty noticeable once you train your eyes for it. You can see I'm also getting a fair bit of stone from this as well. Might be another wolf here, I don't actually remember. There's very little coal up in the north. And this is a spot with 2 of it. So it's one of the reasons that a lot of people will build their base in this area. Because it's one of the only coal spawns that's just not in the mountains. You will see me from time to time just run over there and grab it just to increase our coal supply. But ultimately, that's really all there is to it. Gonna harvest a little bit more stone, try to push myself to the next level. There we go. Then we get another attribute that gets us to authority 5. That will make things much, much easier. Actually, apparently I could already get to authority 5. We're going to keep progressing through authority. Again, it's very nice. Health restored when you deal damage in combat. Passive health regenerate when not in combat. Both are kind of in that regard. Not a lot you can do about it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this shit bake. See? Gonna grab all of this. It's not really efficient with her, as she's only a smelter 1, but all she does is crafting speed. But again, this is just free experience gain potential. Hey, you know what? Why not? Bake it. Give me more experience. And so now we are at level 26. We didn't advance much in level tonight, but we definitely got some progress done on the base, got certain things set up, expanded the footprint, so we're good on expansion from now. And like I said, I'll probably go next time and take a shot at getting a Sumerian Berserker, because they are one of the best thralls in the game. I will probably get my ass kicked doing it, but if I can do it, I can jump quite a bit in terms of thrall capability, and then I don't really have to worry about my thrall. And then from there, once I have one Sumerian Berserker, getting a second one, a lot easier. So it definitely helps out in that regard, as you can start stockpiling Berserkers, so even if you lose one, you got a backup, and it becomes less of a problem. All right. Okay, chat. You're going to be done for tonight. Let me see who all's on. I will be back tomorrow. We'll definitely find something fun and interesting to do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Now I'm going to send you guys over to Miss Simon Ivy. She is on, and she is chatting? Chatting. Just chatting. Just chatting, chat. Might do reactions tomorrow. We'll see. I have to think about what I want to do and what's on the agenda in terms of schedule. So, but again, thank you guys for watching. You guys know I appreciate you. Always happy for those of you guys to stick around for the variety content. So, thank you all. Again, we'll probably have some more YouTube content coming for you guys here soon. So go give me a subscription on YouTube. And if you want, follow me here, as well as join the Discord. It's the easiest place to keep in touch, especially with my schedule getting a little bit more in flux here. Easiest way to tell when I'm going to stream next. So I'll see you guys later. Go give Ivy my love and have a good night.